Chapter 3049. Gu Fei strolled in the inner world. It seemed slow, but in fact, every step he took would cross countless mountains. With his current cultivation base, he needed to refine his inner world once more. He wanted to open up a new world from the primal chaos void and create a new world from it. With his current cultivation level, this inner world could at least be expanded several times. Moreover, he had 3 great inner worlds inside his body. This piece of divine land was only refined into the inner world in his dantian. In the depths of his sea of consciousness between his eyebrows, there was another inner world that was created with the chaotic embryo as the foundation of the world. In the location of his heart, there was a world pearl, which was one of the 6 Taos created by the ancient Buddhist lord, the Tao of Hell. Right now, the Tao of Hell was brimming with life and was no longer a world of death. However, even though Gu Fei had become a quasi-supreme, he couldn't refine the path of hell into his body. He could only control the boundary bead and enter the path of hell at will. One had to know that the path of hell was a world created by the ancient Buddhist lord, once one of the 6 paths. It wasn't something that a quasi-supreme could refine. What Gu Fei needed to do now was to refine the inner world in the depths of his sea of consciousness into his dantian. The divine land in his dantian was actually incomplete. If he could refine the inner world in the depths of his sea of consciousness into his dantian and become one with the divine land, this divine land would be complete and would have the potential to transform into a greater heaven and earth. At this time, Gu Fei came to the depths of this divine land. The vitality here was exuberant, and the spiritual qi of heaven and earth was so dense that it could be seen with the naked eye. There were several divine springs of life distributed in this region. The divine springs of life absorbed the essence of life day and night, nourishing this part of the world. This was the true divine land. Countless spiritual herbs, divine herbs, and immortal herbs grew in the mountain ridges. The air was filled with a faint medicinal fragrance. The closer the divine medicines were to the divine spring of life, the more precious they were. With the nourishment of boundless essence energy, the divine medicines here were at least at the herb king level. There were even a few divine medicines that had transformed into quasi-immortal divine medicines. Of course, spiritual medicines that could transform into quasi-immortal divine medicines were extremely rare. It was just like how only a small number of living beings could become supreme beings. It was almost impossible for a divine medicine or immortal medicine to transform into an immortal medicine. The success rate was simply too low. Since ancient times, there had never been a case of a divine medicine or immortal medicine transforming into an immortal medicine. He had come here to pluck some godly herbs, and then he planned to refine a cauldron of heaven-defying godly herbs that could allow one to directly become a saint after eating them. Actually, Gu Fei also knew that there were conditions for a person to become a saint directly. No divine medicine could make a mortal without any cultivation become a saint. This was very impractical. What he could do was to allow an immortal god-level cultivator to become a saint after eating the divine medicine, especially an immortal emperor or a quasi-saint. To become a saint, one would need to undergo a heavenly tribulation. Gu Fei wanted an immortal god-level living being to become a saint directly and safely pass the heavenly tribulation to become a saint. That kind of divine medicine had to meet the most basic conditions to become a saint. Therefore, this divine medicine had to ensure that the cultivator wouldn't die under the heavenly tribulation. This was very difficult. This was also the reason why no one had been able to refine such a divine medicine since ancient times. It might be possible to increase a person's cultivation to the saint level by relying on this medicine, but when the person faced the heavenly tribulation, only death would await them. Life force was the most important thing to survive. As long as one's life force was strong enough, one could survive the heavenly tribulation. Increasing a cultivator's life force wasn't difficult for Gu Fei because he had the divine spring of life and the immortal ancestral dragon divine medicine. Next, he sat cross-legged on a huge rock beside the divine spring of life and began to study various ancient books on refining medicine. Over the years, he had obtained quite a number of ancient books on refining medicine. Back when he was on Buzhou Ancestral Star and attacked the Central Continent Immortal Mansion, He conveniently took away all the treasures of the Central Continent Immortal Mansion. The Central Continent Immortal Mansion had been passed down for a long time, so its collection was naturally very rich. Moreover, Gu Fei had fought countless battles along the way and obtained countless spoils of war. In particular, back in the Hell Path, he had obtained a divine land from an expert of the Hell Path God Clan. The divine land contained the lifetime collection of that expert from the God Clan. One should know that the God Clan was once the strongest clan in the Hell Path. Naturally, the collection of this clan was incomparably rich. Now, to Gu Fei, the various ancient books on refining medicine in this clan were exactly what he needed. Gu Fei sat there for 10 days. He flipped through countless alchemy books and discovered a problem. Among these books, there wasn't a single pill recipe that could refine a divine medicine that could allow one to become a saint. Of course, the ancient Buddhist lord seemed to have obtained an immortal spiritual medicine. Looks like I'll have to make a trip to the west. Gu Fei stood up from the huge rock. At this moment, he suddenly saw a dragon-shaped creature peeking its head out from the spiritual fog in front of him and looking at him. This dragon-shaped creature was the immortal ancestral dragon medicine that had long gained sentience. It was unknown how long this immortal ancestral dragon medicine had lived for, but its ability to urge good fortune and avoid calamity was probably unparalleled. Gu Fei smiled and waved his hand. The creature hidden in the spiritual fog flew over and landed on his right hand. This creature was extremely mystical, just like a real ancestral dragon. If one didn't know its background, one would really mistake it for a small ancestral dragon. It was too similar. Little fella, are you used to living here? Gu Fei played with the small ancestral dragon in his hand. This immortal spiritual medicine was too mystical. It was a different kind of life. If you don't come here to take my blood often, I'll be fine. A young voice rang in Gu Fei's mind. This little fellow was communicating with Gu Fei through divine sense. Haha, Gu Fei laughed. This little fella thought that he was here for his blood. The blood of an immortal spiritual medicine was something that could make even Supremes jealous. All right, stay here obediently. Chaos is about to rise, and the world is about to fall into chaos again. Gu Fei sighed. The world was going to be in chaos. Countless lives were destined to fall. This was a general trend that no one could change. As he spoke, Gu Fei waved his hand and sent the small ancestral dragon into the depths of the spring. Then, he turned around and left. With just one step, he disappeared from his inner world and directly appeared in the outside world. It's time to settle the score with those two fellas. Chapter 3050. Reality was cruel. Gu Fei wanted to concoct a divine medicine that could make one become a sage immediately, but he soon realized that it was just his wishful thinking. Yin Er's master walked the path of alchemy, so Gu Fei naturally thought of this. But now, what he needed to do was to make a trip to the west. Legend had it that the Buddhist lord had once obtained an immortal divine medicine. It was a green lotus of creation, which contained the most primitive, profound meaning of heaven and earth. Such an immortal divine medicine would make even a supreme martial artist jealous, let alone Gu Fei. However, this immortal divine medicine seemed to have disappeared along with the Buddhist lord. However, when Gu Fei was going through the heavenly tribulation, Heavenly Monk and Fanchio both attacked him. This debt had to be settled with those two fellows. At this time, the Iron Blood Taoist and the others had already rushed over from afar. Gu Fei only said a few words and directly left this spiritual land, heading towards the territory of the Chaos Dominator. This puzzled the Iron Blood Taoist and the others. "Where are you going, my lord?" the Fire Chelan asked. "You ask me? Who am I supposed to ask?" The Iron Blood Taoist said impatiently. At this time, the three spirits of the celestial path had also arrived, but they didn't say anything. They were just Gu Fei's celestial servants. Gu Fei could kill them with a single thought. The eldest of the three spirits of the celestial path glanced at a mountain in the distance that was surrounded by spiritual qi. Then, he returned to their residence with the second and third brothers. A figure sat cross-legged on the peak of the mountain surrounded by spiritual qi. In front of this figure was a purple gold divine sword. Rays of divine light of the great path flowed on the sword. At this time, The absolute chaos domain was extremely lively. People kept coming out of the light ball above the chaotic divine mountain. Some people also rushed into the sky and entered the light ball. The chaotic creatures guarding the chaotic divine mountain didn't dare to stop them at all because they had already learned their lesson. The chaos dominator still hadn't returned. No one knew where he was traveling. The heaven realm and the human realm were so big that even a powerhouse like the chaos dominator would find it difficult to travel to both realms. Although the chaotic creatures in the desolate domain were powerful, they were not as powerful as the quasi-supremes or even Saint Venerables in the heaven realm and the human realm. Those who had already entered the desolate world had to return to the heaven realm or the human realm from time to time. Who would dare to stop such an existence? In the end, the chaotic creatures guarding the Chaos Divine Mountain were chased away. They didn't dare to return to the vicinity of the Chaos Divine Mountain. In this way, even sacred-level beings, sage-to-be, mighty ones, and immortal emperors could enter the deserted world at will. They didn't have to worry about encountering those chaotic creatures. However, when Gu Fei appeared in the chaotic absolute domain, the cultivators around the chaotic sacred mountain all avoided him. The place, which was originally bustling with noise and excitement, was now completely silent. Everyone was looking at Gu Fei, and no one dared to approach him. Gu Fei rose into the sky and arrived at the peak of the chaotic sacred mountain. He was about to enter the light ball, completely ignoring the gazes of the people around him. At this moment, a figure suddenly walked out of the light ball. However, when the person saw Gu Fei, he quickly retreated back into the light ball. Am I that scary? Gu Fei smiled bitterly and shook his head. Then, he took a step forward and walked into the light ball. After Gu Fei entered the light ball, the area where the chaotic sacred mountain was located was bustling with noise and excitement again. Gu Fei's reputation had already spread across the heaven realm and the human realm. Moreover, everyone knew that he had successfully passed the Quasi-Supreme's heavenly tribulation. He was a Quasi-Supreme's martial artist. Coupled with the propaganda of some people with ulterior motives, Gu Fei was a peerless villain in the eyes of many. However, Gu Fei didn't care about the slander of those who were hostile towards him. He didn't even bother to deal with these people. He was free and didn't care what the world said or how they saw him. The ruins of the ancient heavenly court were still dark. Gu Fei's figure appeared in the void near the chaotic sacred mountain. The moment he appeared, more than 10 extremely powerful spiritual wills swept over from all directions and landed on him instantly. However, in the next moment, these spiritual wills all retreated. Gu Fei didn't care about these people because they didn't have any grudges against him. At this moment, the endless ruins were still filled with danger. He took a step forward and disappeared into the void. Roar! A wretched cry rang out from a valley several thousand li away from the Chaos Divine Mountain. A humanoid flame pounced upon a cultivator. The cultivator could only let out a wretched cry before the humanoid flame burned him to ashes. Both his body and soul were destroyed. The immortal fire has appeared. At this moment, a figure suddenly rushed out from a mountain beside the valley. He pulled out the stopper of a purple and gold gourd in his hand and slapped the bottom of the gourd. Collect! The cultivator shouted. A powerful devouring force immediately rushed out of the purple and gold gourd. It wanted to suck the immortal fire that could burn people to ashes, and even souls couldn't escape into the purple and gold gourd. However, the human-shaped immortal fire seemed to have a mind of its own. It instantly sank into the ground and disappeared without a trace. When the purple-robed girl saw this, she stomped her foot and rushed down with the purple and gold gourd in her hand. A huge hole appeared in the ground, and hot air was still rushing out of it. The cunning immortal fire has escaped again, the purple-robed girl said regretfully. The purple-robed girl said with a look of pity. It was obvious that she had been tracking this immortal fire for some time, but she had not been able to catch it. The human-shaped immortal fire was a type of connate fire of the way in legends. No one had thought that such a fire would appear in the ruins of the ancient heavenly court. A cultivator with a fire elemental constitution. At this moment, someone in the sky saw what had just happened. The purple-robed girl was a cultivator with a fire elemental constitution. She was already a saint at such a young age. Even the heirs of the ancient clans were only SOSO if she was already a saint at such a young age. The figure in the sky was Gu Fei. In the valley, the purple-robed girl was trying to find a way to force the human-shaped immortal fire out when a figure descended from the sky and landed in front of her. The purple-robed girl was shocked. She stared at Gu Fei warily. Chapter 3051. Gu Fei waved his hand in a valley filled with sinister aura in the dusky world. The connate flame of the way that had burrowed into the ground was captured by him. A ball of flame of the way kept changing shape in his hand. It sometimes turned into a ferocious beast, and at other times, it turned into a flying divine bird. However, this ball of connate flame of the way, which could burn even saints to death, was caught in Gu Fei's hand just like that. The flame of the way circled around his fingers, yet it did not hurt him at all. The girl in purple could not help but open her mouth wide when she saw this. She could not believe that the connate flame of the way that she had tried so hard to capture had been so easily caught by the person in front of her. The ball of flame of the way was a purple immortal flame. It was only the size of a fist, but it contained purple patterns of the way. The patterns were intertwined, and the immortal flame was not scorching. However, a ball of immortal flame like this was able to burn a sage to death. It was incredibly powerful. The legendary Great Path Purple Flame. Gu Fei looked at the immortal flame in his hand carefully. There were intertwining patterns of the way within the purple flame. This was undoubtedly the Great Path Purple Flame, but he had not expected it to appear here. This kind of connate flame of the way was tempting even for him. However, he already had the Great Path Fire Lotus. This divine medicine was much more precious and rare than the connate flame of the way. One must know that the Great Path Fire Lotus was a divine medicine that had been bred from the connate flame of the way. Gu Fei looked at the girl in purple who was staring at the immortal flame in his hand. He thought about it and asked, "Who are you?" "Ah, senior, are you talking to me?" The girl in purple only came back to her senses at this moment and asked hurriedly. This person looked young, but his cultivation was terrifyingly high. He had taken the Great Path Purple Flame in one move. Such an existence was definitely an ancient figure. The girl in purple naturally did not dare to slight him. "Haha, I'm not talking to you. Am I talking to the flame of the way in my hand?" Gu Fei said with a smile. "My name is Jiang Yuer. I come from the Jiang family of the ancients." The purple-clothed girl immediately revealed her origins. What? When Gu Fei heard this, he was shocked. This girl in purple was from the Jiang family of the clan of the ancients. Wasn't that Jiang Renhuang's family? The purple-clothed girl seemed to know that Gu Fei would have such a reaction and was not surprised. "What is the relationship between you and Jiang Renhuang?" Gu Fei said. The way he looked at the purple-clothed girl was different. It became gentle. He had a friendship with Jiang Renhuang, and they were old friends. Furthermore, Jiang Renhuang had appeared briefly when he was going through his quasi-supreme heavenly tribulation. Gu Fei was very grateful to Jiang Renhuang. "That's my grandfather. You actually know my grandfather." Jiang Yuer said with some surprise. After all, Jiang Renhuang was the strongest existence in the human world and the heaven realm. In the current era, he was the only ultimate emperor realm cultivator. "You are the granddaughter of the human emperor." Gu Fei couldn't help being moved. No wonder this violet-robed girl was already a saint at such a young age. He had heard that the human emperor's son had been sealed in this era and had only just awoken from a long slumber. The son of the human emperor had only been born a few hundred years ago, but now he even had a daughter. There must be a story behind this. "Of course I know your grandfather. We are friends." Gu Fei continued. "What? You are my grandfather's friend?" The purple-clothed girl said in disbelief. One should know that her grandfather was the human emperor. Most people from his generation had already passed away. "This connate flame of the way is for you." As Gu Fei spoke, he waved his right hand. The human-shaped celestial flame immediately flew towards the purple-clothed girl. "What? For me?" When the purple-clothed girl saw the human-shaped celestial flame flying towards her, she was both surprised and happy. She quickly pointed the purple gold gourd in her hand at the celestial flame. A powerful devouring force immediately rushed out of the purple gold gourd in the purple-clothed girl's hand, sucking the humanoid immortal flame into the gourd. When the purple-clothed girl was done keeping the celestial flame, the black-clothed young man had disappeared. She could not sense how he disappeared at all. Could this person really be a friend of Grandpa and Huang? The purple-clothed girl said. Her father was the son of the human emperor, and her grandfather was the human emperor. No one dared to touch her, not even the demons. At this moment, it was not the time for the final battle. Even the demons did not dare to provoke Jiang Renhuang. One should know that when the human emperor was angry, it was definitely something extremely terrifying. No one would be willing to upset the balance at this moment. Even when Gu Fei had destroyed the East region demons, there were no stronger demons that jumped out. This was the reason why. Thank you, Senior. The purple-clothed girl shouted at the sky. Then, she happily kept the purple gold gourd in her hand and soared into the sky, leaving the valley that was surrounded by Yin Qi. Meanwhile, Gu Fei had almost arrived at the South Heaven Gate. Wherever he went, he would see the corpses of many cultivators, as well as cultivators fighting one another. Although the ancient heavenly court had been reduced to a huge ruin, there were still countless treasures buried in the ruins. However, the treasures buried in the ruins were not easy to obtain. There would often be inexplicable dangers, and many cultivators had died in these unpredictable dangers. Of course, this had nothing to do with Gu Fei. Soon, he arrived at the area where the Southern Heaven Gate was. He did not stop and immediately rushed out of the gate. Swoosh! As soon as Gu Fei rushed out of the Southern Heaven Gate, a figure outside the gate suddenly broke through the void and escaped. Yuan Gu. Gu Fei's expression changed. He took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. However, his figure quickly appeared thousands of miles away. He was very unhappy that he failed to stop that guy. He actually let that guy escape. Yuan Gu is still as cunning as ever. Gu Fei gritted his teeth and immediately turned around and left. He rushed towards the heavenly realm from the depths of the starry sky. Soon, he could see the endless mountains and rivers of the heavenly realm. He did not stop and directly headed towards the West Mysterious Ocean. When he appeared at the West Mysterious Ocean, it was already a few hours later. It was dusk in the heavenly realm. When he appeared at the entrance of the ancient road to heaven in the West Mysterious Ocean, he caused a commotion. This was something he did not expect. Chapter 3052. The news of Gu Fei leaving the heavenly realm and returning to the human realm spread like wildfire. Some people who had enmity with Gu Fei felt uneasy. After all, Gu Fei was a ferocious person. However, some people who were on good terms with Gu Fei were overjoyed. Gu Fei's return to the human realm meant that the human realm would no longer be peaceful. There were also many people who wanted to compete with this legendary ferocious person. These people had heard many things about Gu Fei in the human realm. Naturally, there were some who were unconvinced. Some people thought that the reason why Gu Fei was able to flatten the forbidden area of the heavenly realm and the eastern sky market was because of the power of the extreme Tao Saint artifact. It wasn't his own strength. It was especially so for those experts who had come to the Soaring Dragon ancestral planet from the Zhou ancestral planet or the other ancestral planets. These people were all experts who dominated their respective ancestral planets. The news of Gu Fei's return to the human realm was naturally shocking. However, many people were guessing why Gu Fei returned to the human realm. After all, he wouldn't come back for no reason. He must have something to do. Very soon, Gu Fei appeared in the sky market. He left the sky market and returned to the eastern sky market. Everything in the Myriad City was the same as when Gu Fei left. No one dared to attack the Myriad City, even if they knew that Gu Fei wasn't in the city. After all, the news of Gu Fei's successful tribulation had already spread to the human realm. Gu Fei was already a quasi-sovereign. Who would dare to provoke such an existence? Moreover, there was a rumor in the eastern sky market. Some people believed that the disappearance of the eastern sky market Devil Den was caused by Gu Fei. It seemed that the only person in the entire eastern sky market who could do such a crazy thing was Gu Fei. Moreover, the force that took over the eastern sky market Devil Den's territory was Gu Fei's force. When the eastern sky market Devil Den disappeared, the people of the Myriad City entered the Devil Den's territory and took over all the territories of the Devil Realm. Gu Fei's territory had undoubtedly expanded many times, and it was even larger than the territories of the other forces in the Eastern Domain. No one dared to snatch food from Gu Fei's hands, because many people knew the consequences of doing so. Gu Fei's things weren't so easily taken away. The moment Gu Fei returned to Wanxiang City, all the major forces in the eastern region immediately knew about it, especially the primordial Zhao clan and the Dongfang clan. Currently, there were only 3 major forces in the eastern domain: Gu Fei's Wanxiang City, the primordial Zhao clan, and the Dongfang clan. As for the eastern domain Devil Den, it had already become a thing of the past. The primordial desolate Zhao clan and the Dongfang clan had once become enemies with Gu Fei, especially the Dongfang clan. Although the grudge between the Dongfang clan and Gu Fei was temporarily put down under the mediation of Ghost Emperor Fengdu, but the Dongfang clan was still at a disadvantage. However, no one knew how long this situation would last. Once Gu Fei and the Dongfang clan started a war, it would be a disaster for the entire eastern region, and it might even affect the situation of the entire Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star. Ghost Emperor Fengdu and the others were unwilling to see such a scene. Therefore, Ghost Emperor Fengdu stepped forward to mediate the grudge between the two clans, preventing a war from breaking out between the two clans. However, the current Gu Fei was no longer the Gu Fei of the past. He was now a quasi-supreme, and his cultivation was higher than the Dongfang clan's old ancestor. However, the Eastern Sky Tyrant King had the human sovereign sword in his hand. It was a supreme sovereign weapon left behind by an ultimate sovereign, and it could contend against supreme sovereign weapons. Once a war broke out, it was hard to say who would win and who would lose. After all, the Dongfang clan was a clan that had once produced an ultimate sovereign, and they possessed an incomparably deep foundation. Who knew what else the human sovereign of the Dongfang clan had left behind? This time, Gu Fei didn't return to attack the Dongfang clan. He only stayed in Wanxiang City for a few days before leaving. No one knew where he went. In West Earth, the entire region was occupied by a single faction. This faction was Buddhism, and it was also the only faction on the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star that could occupy an entire region. West Earth's Buddhism had billions of believers on the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star, and it was incomparably prosperous. The inheritance of the ancient Buddhist Lord could be found on the Soaring Dragon Ancestral Star, and it was on such a scale. Even the ancient Buddhist Lord probably didn't expect it. At this time, a figure walked into West Earth. It was a young man in black. He walked confidently, and everywhere he passed, there were temples shrouded in Buddhist light. In each temple, there was a Buddhist Venerable Buddha presiding over it. West Earth's Buddhism was the kingdom of Buddha. The entire world was shrouded in an auspicious aura. Even the beasts here seemed to have a Buddhist nature. They became very docile, and they wouldn't hurt anyone. The power of Buddhism can enlighten people, enlighten all living beings, and convert all living beings. This doesn't seem unreasonable. Gu Fei couldn't help but be moved when he saw such a scene. Buddhist power seemed to be closely related to all living beings. This was a huge secret of West Earth's Buddhism that Gu Fei discovered after observing the entire West Earth with the eyes of a quasi-supreme. It had to be said that the ancient Buddhist Lord was indeed a hero of the ages. He had actually created such a cultivation method. Could Buddhist power be that illusory and intangible force of will that the Buddhist Lord spoke of? Gu Fei muttered to himself. He didn't stop and headed into the depths of West Earth. In the center of West Earth stood a spirit mountain. It was incomparably huge and towered into the clouds. The entrance of the legendary Heavenly Buddha Path was at the peak of the Spirit Mountain. The Heavenly Buddha Path was one of the 6 paths of reincarnation opened by the ancient Buddhist Lord. It was also the fundamental reason why the legacy of Buddhism could continue to be passed down. As long as the Heavenly Buddha Path existed, the legacy of the ancient Buddhist Lord wouldn't be severed. Gu Fei could clearly sense the changes in this part of the world. Countless living beings in West Earth had the will of will rushing out and gathering in the void, being absorbed by the temples. The temples that covered the entire West Earth were like transfer stations. The will of will was transformed into Buddhist power and then gathered at the Spirit Mountain. Good. Gu Fei was truly stunned by this method. Over the countless years, just how much willpower had been converted into Buddhist energy? What was the ancient Buddhist sovereign trying to do? The methods of a supreme being were indeed shocking. Moreover, Gu Fei didn't know why the ancient Buddhist lord was gathering so much Buddhist power. However, he knew that this was definitely a shocking secret. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to sense the secret of West Earth's Buddhism. At the very least, only quasi-supreme beings could see through everything. However, how many quasi-supreme beings were there in the mortal world and heaven realm? Zhang Renhuang definitely knew about this, but he didn't do anything. Perhaps only quasi-supreme beings and above were qualified to know this secret. Swoosh. Gu Fei walked in West Earth. With each step, he instantly disappeared. When he reappeared in the next moment, he was already tens of thousands of miles away. He cultivated the 8 desolation steps and displayed the extreme speed of 8 steps. His speed was absolutely unimaginable. Wherever he passed, even saint-level Buddhist experts would find it hard to catch his figure. Chapter 3053. The spiritual mountain was the holy land in the hearts of billions of believers of West Earth. Back then, Gu Fei, an old tortoise, wreaked havoc in the spiritual mountain and even blew up half of it. But now, when Gu Fei saw the aura of the spiritual mountain, he knew that the spiritual mountain couldn't be destroyed. At least, he couldn't destroy it. Although half of the spiritual mountain had been destroyed, the experts of West Earth's Buddhist sect were able to quickly repair the other half. Gu Fei was on a mountain peak far away, looking at the spiritual mountain. He saw that it was a holy mountain bathed in endless Buddha light. Buddha light rushed over from all directions and entered the spiritual mountain. The ancient Buddha Lord is really good. Gu Fei couldn't help but exclaim when he saw this. One must know how terrifying the Buddha force formed from billions of believers was. What the Buddhists wanted was probably not simple. But what did this have to do with him? At the thought of this, Gu Fei took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. When he reappeared, he was already at the foot of the spiritual mountain. Who goes there? Just as Gu Fei appeared at the foot of the spiritual mountain, a loud shout came from the mountain gate. The voice was like a great bell, giving people a feeling of being hit in the head. Swoosh. A figure radiating with golden light walked out from the mountain gate. This was a Vajra with glaring eyes. He held a Buddhist magic tool in his hand. He walked over step by step, like a golden divine mountain moving, giving off an incomparably intimidating aura. The Vajra roared, subduing demons and demons. This Buddhist chant was similar to the Azure Dragon roar and the Lion King roar. It also had great power. This Vajra's body seemed to be cast from gold. The golden light emitted from his body caused the entire sky to be illuminated in gold. Humph, Gu Fei sneered. Although this Vajra was strong, it could only scare the ignorant people of the world. In front of him, this Vajra wasn't even comparable to an ant. Gu Fei directly blew a breath towards the Buddhist Vajra that was striding over, only to see the Buddhist light emitted by the Buddhist Vajra being dispersed by his breath. The Vajra form disappeared and a little monk wearing a white robe appeared in front of Gu Fei. The little monk was panicking and didn't know what to do. Haha, it's just a small trick. It's fine to scare the people of the world, but it's scaring the wrong person. Gu Fei laughed. You're a cultivator? Who are you? Do you know where this place is? The little monk forced himself to calm down. He was just a little monk guarding the door and was the lowest-ranking Buddhist disciple on Spirited Mountain. He had never met an expert who could break through his Vajra Dharma form. Even though he was the lowest-ranking disciple of the mountain, but of the spiritual mountain, he was still a higher status than the others. Why don't I know where this place is? What a joke. Call your elders out. I'm here to collect my debt. Gu Fei said carelessly. He really did look like a local tycoon who came to collect a debt. Collect the debt? The little monk was stunned when he heard this. Someone actually came to the spiritual mountain to collect the debt? Was this guy stupid? Where was this place? This was the spiritual mountain, the sacred ground of West Earth. That's right, collect the debt, Gu Fei said seriously. Haha, did I hear wrongly? Someone actually dares to come to the spiritual mountain to collect the debt? At this moment, a middle-aged monk walked out from the mountain gate. When he heard Gu Fei's words, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. This was the funniest thing he had ever heard. Since ancient times, who would dare to come to the spiritual mountain to collect the debt? Junior uncle. When the little monk saw the middle-aged monk, it was as though he had seen his savior. He hurriedly went up to him. A life for a life, a debt for a life. I'm here to collect the debt. What's wrong with that? Gu Fei suddenly said with a smile. Good, very good. Tell me then, who is the one who owes you a debt? The middle-aged monk retracted his smile and said with a solemn expression. It seemed like this black-robed young man didn't come with good intentions. Since he dared to come to the spiritual mountain to cause trouble, he was definitely not someone to be trifled with. There are many people who owe me a debt on this mountain, so many that I can't even remember all of them. Luckily, I still remember two fellas. Gu Fei thought for a moment and said, Haha, you're really trying to climb all over me. Tell me, who are the two of you? The middle-aged monk's temperament was pretty good. He still didn't get angry. However, at this moment, many disciples and believers at the foot of the mountain were alarmed. The two of them are probably nameless people in the spiritual mountain. One of them is an old monk who seems to be pretty miserable in the spiritual mountain. He wears a dirty kasaya all day and goes around swindling people. I think he's called Heavenly Monk or something. Yeah, there's another guy who's even more despicable. He's even younger than you, little monk. He always carries an alms bowl and goes around begging for alms. On the surface, it looks like he's begging for alms, but in reality, he's more like a bandit. The most despicable thing is that this little baldy always wants to rob my things. I think he's called Fanshio. Yeah, that's right. He's called Fanshio. Gu Fei said seriously. At this moment, the middle-aged monk and the little monk behind him looked at Gu Fei in a daze. What's with your expressions? Hurry up and hand over these two fellas. It's time to pay the debt. Gu Fei looked at the middle-aged monk and said, This? You? The middle-aged monk stuttered, unable to form a complete sentence. He was truly frightened by this black-robed young man. He didn't expect this fella to be here for the two patriarchs. You, who are you? The middle-aged monk said with a trembling voice. Not only him, but all the disciples at the foot of the mountain were stunned when they heard Gu Fei's words. This black-robed young man was here to collect the debt from Patriarch Heavenly Monk and Patriarch Fanshio? Haha, you're really interesting, Big Baldy. You're still asking me who I am? Did you just realize that I'm your creditor? Gu Fei laughed heartily. Gu Fei, why are you trying to fool these juniors? At that moment, a sloppy-looking monk walked down the mountain. He held a cooked dog leg in one hand and a wine gourd in the other. He took a mouthful of meat and a mouthful of wine. He ate to his heart's content, and his mouth was covered in oil. It's you, monk of wine and meat. When Gu Fei saw the sloppy monk, he couldn't help but be startled. So many years had passed, yet this guy was still alive. Furthermore, this monk had actually become a saint. There was actually a ball of Buddhist light behind this guy's head. Of course, only cultivators like Gu Fei could see this halo. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to see it. What? You're not going to treat me to a drink? Gu Fei smiled. This sloppy monk was different from ordinary monks. This fellow was someone who had experienced wine and meat, and had a Buddhist lord in his heart. He was very carefree. At this moment, the sloppy monk had already arrived in front of Gu Fei. The middle-aged monk and the other monks had already retreated. The sloppy monk directly threw the wine gourd towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei caught the wine gourd, and a rich wine aroma immediately wafted out of the mouth of the gourd. Good wine. Where did you steal this monkey wine from? Gu Fei recognized the origin of the wine immediately. He raised his head and took a big gulp before throwing the wine gourd back to the sloppy monk. You really know your stuff. This gourd of monkey wine of mine was obtained from a monkey king in an uninhabited area of the heavenly realm for half a year. The sloppy monk said. The monkey emperor was an incomparably powerful existence. It was even more powerful than a sage. It was a creature of the sage king realm. It had to be said that this sloppy monk really didn't care about his life for the sake of this top-grade monkey wine. All right, I don't want to make things difficult for you. Stand to the side. Since that old guy Fation and that little bald donkey Fanshio refused to come down, I'll have to work a little harder and go up to find them. Gu Fei said helplessly. You want to find those two? You came at the wrong time. The sloppy monk said. At this time, there were many Buddhist disciples and followers gathered near the mountain gate. These people naturally did not know who Gu Fei was. They looked curiously at the two people on the mountain gate. Why? Those two guys aren't here. Gu Fei was a little surprised. It must be known that the sloppy monk would not lie because the sloppy monk was not a treacherous and cunning person. That's right. Don't ask me. I don't know where they went. The sloppy monk seemed to know what Gu Fei wanted to say, so he hurriedly said. Then, he directly bid farewell to Gu Fei and strode past him. Gu Fei did not make a move. He looked at the spiritual mountain and took a step forward. In an instant, he disappeared into the void. Seeing this scene, the Buddhist disciples near the mountain gate were shocked to the extreme, especially the little monk who stopped Gu Fei and the middle-aged monk who were dumbfounded. When Gu Fei reappeared, he had already arrived at the peak of the spirited mountain. Powerful waves of his will spread from his body, enveloping the entire spirited mountain in an unbridled manner. In the next moment, more than 10 strong divine senses rushed out from all over the spiritual mountain. However, the divine senses quickly retreated as if they were never there. Those two guys are really not on the spiritual mountain. He did not sense the aura of little monk Fan Xiao and Fa Tian, but he directly broke through the spiritual mountain and entered the mountain, heading straight for the ancestral earth vein at the foot of the spiritual mountain. The Buddhist experts on the spiritual mountain were shocked when they sensed Gu Fei's actions. This ferocious man is actually heading for the ancestral earth vein at the foot of the spiritual mountain. This is incredible. Chapter 3054. Gu Fei went straight into the spiritual mountain, heading for the ancestral vein of earth deep underground. Along the way, golden Buddhist runes emerged and interweaved into a formation, trying to stop him. However, Gu Fei broke through the layers of Buddhist formations like a hot knife through butter and entered a huge space deep underground. He actually entered the ancestral vein of earth. What should we do? The Buddhist experts on the spiritual mountain sensed all this and couldn't help but be shocked. Even the Buddhist saints who had cultivated for countless years couldn't keep their calm. The ancestral vein of earth was the foundation of the spiritual mountain. If that person had evil intentions and destroyed the vein, the spiritual mountain wouldn't just be half destroyed like before. Patriarch Heavenly Dharma and Patriarch Fan Xiao aren't here. Who can fight this person? Just as the Buddhist saints on the spirited mountain were at a loss for what to do, an old monk walked up to the peak of the spirited mountain and sat cross-legged on a huge boulder. As he approached, he actually attracted the boundless Buddhist energy from all directions to strengthen himself. Buzz. There was a rumbling sound in the void, and the shadow of a golden Buddha emerged from the old monk's body. The moment the golden Buddha appeared, endless, auspicious light descended from the sky, and golden lotuses gushed out from the ground. It was as if the ancient Buddha had descended to the world. A faint Buddhist voice lingered in the void, as if the ancient Buddha was chanting sutras. The phenomenon at the peak of the spiritual mountain could be seen from 1,000 miles away. The Buddhist disciples on the spiritual mountain hurriedly bowed to the golden Buddha on the peak. Countless Buddhist believers within 1,000 miles of the spiritual mountain also bowed devoutly in the direction of the mountain. The psyche power in this area was increasing exponentially. It turned into boundless Buddhist power and gathered towards the golden Buddha at the peak of spirited mountain. The golden Buddha looked like it was about to walk out of the void and transform into the true form of the Lord Buddha. Is Ancestor Tian Shan coming into being again? On the Spirit Mountain, a Buddhist saint of the Buddhist clan said such words. Old Ancestor Tian Shan was definitely a legend in West Earth's Buddhism because in every life, he would appear in the mortal world and walk the land. Even in the darkest era of the primordial era, this Buddhist sect patriarch still appeared and walked the primordial era. Patriarch Tian Shan's figure could also be found on the ancient stone carvings on the Spirit Mountain. No one knew when he attained the Tao, and no one knew his relationship with the Buddhist Lord. He was a mysterious and unfathomable Buddhist patriarch. Patriarch Tian Shan came just in time. All the Buddhist sages on Spirited Mountain heaved a sigh of relief. With the help of this old ancestor, Gu Fei naturally wouldn't be able to act violently on Spirited Mountain. Buddha is with me. Boundless Buddhist light radiated from Patriarch Tian Chan's body. The next moment, his figure became faint and illusory. Soon, he merged with the golden Buddha that emerged from his body. The moment Patriarch Tian Chan and the golden Buddha merged into one, the golden Buddha seemed to have come to life and opened its eyes, as if it had suddenly gained endless vitality. A powerful fluctuation of Buddhist force spread out from the golden Buddha's body. The golden Buddha's gaze seemed to penetrate the endless void and instantly landed on Gu Fei, who was in the Earth Ancestor vein. Gu Fei immediately sensed something and raised his head to look up. Tao patterns intertwined in his eyes, and he seemed to be able to ignore the barriers of the void and see the golden Buddha at the peak of Spirited Mountain. Gu Fei didn't pay any attention to the golden Buddha and rushed straight into the depths of the ancestral earth vein. Swoosh! At the same time, the golden Buddha at the top of Spirited Mountain disappeared into the void. The next moment, it appeared in the depths of the ancestral earth vein. The golden Buddhist light that spread from the golden Buddha's body lit up the dark void. In the ancestral earth vein, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was extremely dense. Entering here was like entering a void full of water. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth was almost liquefied. Gu Fei knew that if the ancient Buddhist Lord had left the immortal herb he obtained back then, the ancestral earth vein under Spirited Mountain would definitely be a good place for it to take root. However, he sensed an extremely powerful divine will locking onto him. Damn it! Gu Fei was a little annoyed. He was stupid enough not to fight with the big baldies of the Buddhist clan, but it seemed that he couldn't do that now. The other party had locked onto him with their divine will. However, Gu Fei didn't want to fight with the Buddhist clan expert who was chasing after him. He used the 8 desolation steps and moved quickly in the ancestral earth vein. The void in the ancestral earth vein was extremely vast. It was like an endless world. After a while, Gu Fei suddenly smelled a faint medicinal fragrance. Gu Fei hurriedly stopped, identified the direction of the medicinal fragrance, and directly rushed in the direction of the medicinal fragrance. Very soon, light appeared in front of him. In the dim void, a ball of divine light that emitted a hazy brilliance like a divine moon appeared in Gu Fei's sight. Gu Fei instantly appeared beside the ball of divine light. The glowing object was a god stone. It was a god stone that looked like a crystal. He found that the divine stone contained a huge amount of spiritual energy, but it was covered with cracks. There were actually some tiny root-like things inside the cracks. There used to be a divine herb that took root on this divine stone. Gu Fei said in surprise. A faint medicinal fragrance spread from the divine stone. Just as Gu Fei was surprised, the entire void was suddenly enveloped by a golden radiance. A peaceful but powerful Buddhist power came from behind him. He caught up so quickly. Gu Fei was a little surprised. The Buddhist expert behind him wasn't slow either. He slowly turned around and saw a dazzling golden radiance. A figure emitting boundless Buddhist light walked over from afar. When he saw this figure, he couldn't help but be stunned. Buddha and I are together. You are actually borrowing the power of the Millennium Buddha Lord. Gu Fei saw through the truth of the Golden Buddha with a single glance. The Buddhist power emitted from the Golden Buddha came from the same source as the Buddhist power condensed in the spiritual mountain. Previously, his cultivation was insufficient, and he couldn't see through the secrets of the spiritual mountain. But things were different now. The Millennium Buddha Lord had set up a trap in the spiritual mountain and even the entire West Earth. This was an ancient secret. Perhaps even the Buddhist saints of the Buddhist sects didn't know much about it. To have such achievements at such a young age, could it be that a change is finally going to appear in this world? The Golden Buddha spoke. What change? Gu Fei said with a solemn expression. In fact, he could vaguely guess the meaning of the Golden Buddha's words. In ancient times, there was more than one unparalleled existence that had divined the future. The enemies that had disappeared would return once more. The mortal world and heaven realm would be shrouded in darkness. An even crueler era of darkness was about to begin. However, all the unparalleled existences had divined a change. No one knew what this change was, But they all felt that this was the hope of the world, a ray of hope for the countless living beings. You aren't qualified to know such things, the Golden Buddha said. Then why are you here? Gu Fei looked at the Golden Buddha calmly. Although the other party was borrowing the power of the Millennium Buddha Lord, Gu Fei wasn't afraid of it. I'm here because we are fated to meet, the Golden Buddha said. Haha, don't try to trick me. I'm not one of those believers of yours. Gu Fei laughed. As long as we can meet, it means that we are fated. The Golden Buddha's tone was still as calm as ever. There was neither joy nor sorrow. Auspicious Buddha Lord spread out from his body, turning the entire void into a golden world. All right, don't talk nonsense with me. If you want to fight, then fight. If not, then scram. Gu Fei said impatiently. You and I aren't enemies, the Golden Buddha said. Tisk, why are you looking for me if we aren't enemies? Gu Fei said. What are you looking for? Maybe I can help you. The Golden Buddha said. What? Hearing this, Gu Fei looked at the Golden Buddha in disbelief. He couldn't believe that there was such a good thing. It's true, Gu Fei said in bewilderment. A monk doesn't lie. The Golden Buddha said seriously. That's good. I heard that the Millennium Buddha Lord once obtained an immortal herb. Do you know where that immortal herb is? Gu Fei didn't hide anything and told him his purpose of entering the ancestral earth vein. Although he came to Spiritual Mountain to settle scores with Fation and Fanxio, his real purpose was the immortal herb. He was here for the immortal herb. I see. Looks like you're going to be disappointed. If you came earlier, you might be able to see the immortal herb. But now, it's impossible. The Golden Buddha shook his head and said, What? Gu Fei didn't believe it. However, the Golden Buddha was like the ancient Buddha. He wouldn't lie to him. All right, you must remember that we are not enemies. You and I will meet again one day. I didn't expect to meet his successor. What a pleasant surprise. The Golden Buddha suddenly uttered such words. You are? Gu Fei suddenly thought of something and couldn't help but be shocked. At this moment, the figure of the Golden Buddha suddenly became faint and illusory. Soon, the boundless Buddha light dissipated in the void, and the figure of the Buddha also disappeared. Could it be? Gu Fei's heart trembled. Could such a thing really happen? The ancient Buddha had appeared again. If his guess was correct, then wasn't he talking to the ancient Buddhist Lord just now? Chapter 3055. The means of an extreme-grade sovereign were unimaginable and unfathomable. Even though Gu Fei had become a quasi-sovereign, he still found it hard to comprehend such miraculous means. In the depths of the ancestral vein, Gu Fei thought of many things. Perhaps there would be a time when supreme existences like the Buddhist Lord would reappear in the world. One must know that the Tai Huang, the heavenly demon, and the Golden Buddha were all things that Gu Fei couldn't comprehend. Even if they disappeared, they could still be reborn, let alone an extreme-grade sovereign. He thought of the ruthless person who was still suppressing the northern demon region in the human world all by himself. That ruthless person definitely had a great background. He once hid in the yin-yang jade pendant and was reborn in the end. This was a good example. Perhaps death wasn't the end for those extreme-grade sovereigns, but Gu Fei wasn't a sovereign. Thus, he still couldn't understand how powerful that person was. Gu Fei shook his head to clear his head from his chaotic thoughts. At this time, the air was still filled with a medicinal fragrance. However, at this time, a powerful divine sense suddenly swept out from the depths of the ancestral vein and instantly locked onto Gu Fei. At this time, the divine stone in front of him emitted a hazy brilliance, illuminating the surrounding dark space. Rays of spiritual light, visible to the naked eye, circulated. It's him. Gu Fei couldn't help but be startled. He turned towards the direction of the divine sense and sensed a familiar aura, an aura that he hadn't felt for a long time. Immediately after, a ball of fire lit up in the dark space. Very soon, the ball of fire emitted a divine radiance as dazzling as the sun. It was as if a divine sun had appeared in the dusky world. Within the ball of fire, a golden bird was faintly discernible. Soon after, scorching waves of air surged towards Gu Fei. Primal Chaos Demon Lord, long time no see, Gu Fei said. He looked at the rapidly approaching divine flame and suddenly laughed. Back then, before he had become a saint, he had dared to challenge this demon lord who was still a quasi-saint. In the past, Gu Fei barged into the heavenly Buddha path, contending against the savage beast sovereign and the chaos demon sovereign. However, ever since he left the West Earth, he had never met these two experts again. However, he did not expect the Chaos Demon Lord to be cultivating in the Ancestors' Earth Meridian under the Spirited Mountain. The Chaos Demon Lord was really good at choosing a place. One must know that the Ancestors' Earth Meridian was extremely rich in spiritual energy. It was definitely a place that cultivators could only dream of. Shwa. The boundless flames suddenly disappeared, and a figure appeared in front of Gu Fei. "It's you." It was a veiled woman. Her eyes were as resplendent as the stars. Although her appearance couldn't be seen clearly, her figure was well-proportioned. Her long hair draped over her shoulders, and her eyelashes were very long. Her entire body was filled with spirituality. The Chaos Demon Lord's true form was a golden bird. She had the bloodline of the divine phoenix in her body. The Sage Tao aura that emanated from her body was extremely vast. Wherever she stood, the void seemed to be filled with the sound of the Tao. When the Chaos Demon Lord saw Gu Fei, she was shocked. "I didn't expect you to actually dare to come here. Aren't you afraid that Heavenly Dharma fellow will attack you?" The Chaos Demon Lord did not have much respect for Heavenly Dharma. One must know that Heavenly Dharma's method of subduing the Chaos Demon Lord wasn't very brilliant. The Chaos Demon Lord and the Savage Beast Sovereign were not willing to submit to Heavenly Dharma. They were only forced by the situation to become the protectors of the West Earth Buddhist sect. "Tisk, why would I be afraid of Heavenly Dharma?" Gu Fei said in disdain. "So you've already taken that step?" The Chaos Demon Lord's eyes suddenly lit up. She was extremely shocked. One must know how difficult it was to take that step. No one knew it better than her. "Haha, good eyesight." Gu Fei laughed. "No wonder you dare to come to the spiritual mountain." The Chaos Demon Lord shook her head. Her expression was a little sad. Gu Fei's cultivation realm was lower than hers in the past. But now, he was already a quasi-supreme. How many years had it been? The Chaos Demon Lord could not help but be shocked. Gu Fei's cultivation speed was simply too fast. She only managed to cultivate to the Saint Venerable realm by relying on the incomparably rich heaven and earth spiritual qi in the ancestral earth veins. One must know that not everyone could cultivate in the ancestral earth veins. In the entire Soaring Dragon ancestral star, the number of ancestral earth veins was very limited. Moreover, the places where the ancestral earth veins were located were all occupied by the major forces. It was difficult for outsiders to get close to them. "I didn't expect to meet someone from back then. Do you want to have a spar?" Gu Fei said with a smile. "Are you joking?" The Chaos Demon Lord smiled bitterly. The other party was a quasi-supreme, while she was just a Saint Venerable. It was extremely easy for a quasi-supreme to kill a Saint Venerable. "All right. You're the protector of the West Earth Buddhist sect. You should know where the immortal spiritual medicine that the ancient Buddhist Lord obtained is, right?" Gu Fei asked. "You're not here to settle the score with Fatian." The Chaos Demon Lord was stunned when he heard this. This fella is actually here for the immortal spiritual medicine of the Buddhist sect? Who says that I'm not here to settle the score with Fatian? But that fella isn't in the spiritual mountain right now. I have no choice but to collect some interest from the West Earth Buddhist sect. Gu Fei said, "Haha, your interest is really too expensive. But you'll be disappointed. There's nothing here that you want." The Chaos Demon Lord laughed out loud and said seriously, "The immortal spiritual medicine was something that only existed in the legends. There might have been an immortal spiritual medicine here in the past, but no one knew where it was now. Then what's here?" Gu Fei glanced at the Chaos Demon Lord and said, "Of course there's something good here, but it's a pity that you can't take it away." The Chaos Demon Lord stared at Gu Fei and said with certainty, "Swish." At this moment, Gu Fei's figure suddenly disappeared into the void. "What?" The Chaos Demon Lord was shocked. But in the next moment, she turned around and dashed towards the depths of the ancestral earth vein, instantly disappearing into the darkness. At this moment, Gu Fei was already standing in front of a gigantic pearl. Within this pearl, there was a vague silhouette of a dragon. The ancestral earth vein actually gave birth to such a thing. Gu Fei couldn't help but be moved when he saw the gigantic pearl. There was an extremely pure dragon aura within the pearl. This is a connate true dragon. A true dragon born from the heavens and earth would naturally be a connate true dragon. Even Gu Fei was jealous of such a thing. One should know that once a connate true dragon was born, it would be comparable to a true immortal. Once it matures, it would definitely be the strongest existence in the heavens and earth. However, Gu Fei really couldn't take this gigantic pearl away. This was the ancestral dragon pearl, and it contained a living being. However, in the void around this ancestral dragon pearl, there were faint Buddhist runes interweaving. They were ancient Buddhist runes. Some peerless Buddhist experts had set up layers of arrays around the ancestral vein dragon pearl, sealing it so that outsiders couldn't take it away. This was because the power that sealed the ancestral dragon pearl came from the spirited mountain, and the Buddhist power of the spirited mountain came from the faith of countless Buddhist believers in the West Earth. This power was almost endless. Gu Fei was very clear that once he touched the Buddhist formation, it would be equivalent to fighting against the endless Buddhist power of the spirited mountain. This power wasn't something that he could fight against right now. Of course, if Gu Fei used the extreme Dao Saint weapon, he might succeed, but he wouldn't do that. He didn't want to destroy the ancient Buddhist lord's arrangements. One should know that this was a grand plan that the ancient Buddhist lord had set up. A grand plan that was set up by an entire domain was no small matter. Although Gu Fei didn't know why the ancient Buddhist lord had set up such a grand plan, he knew that the ancient Buddhist lord wouldn't do this for no reason. I said, "You can't take it away, not even if you're a quasi-supreme." At this moment, a voice came from behind Gu Fei. The Chaos Demon Lord had finally arrived. She walked towards Gu Fei step by step and soon arrived behind Gu Fei. Sigh. Gu Fei shook his head and didn't say anything. He took a step forward and instantly disappeared into the void. This time, he left the ancestral earth vein. Soon, he appeared at the peak of the spirited mountain. Outrageous. How can I return empty-handed? Gu Fei was very unhappy. Heavenly Fa and Fanxio weren't on the spirited mountain, and he couldn't find the immortal spiritual herb left behind by the ancient Buddhist lord. How could he just leave like that? His spiritual will instantly enveloped the entire spirited mountain. In the next moment, he took a step forward and disappeared into the void. The Buddhist saints on the spirited mountain finally heaved a sigh of relief. The fierce man was finally gone. But soon, they realized that they were wrong. The fierce man didn't leave, but went to a medicinal field on the spirited mountain. What's he trying to do? The Buddhist saints on the spirited mountain could guess what the fierce man was trying to do. The medicinal field was shrouded in spiritual light and emitted waves of medicinal fragrance. The huge medicinal field was built on a spiritual vein and was protected by more than one layer of Buddhist formations. However, these formations couldn't stop Gu Fei. He broke through several layers of formations and barged into the medicinal field. With a wave of his sleeve, he took away all the spiritual herbs in the field. The Buddhist saints on the spirited mountain couldn't sit still when they sensed this, but they didn't dare to attack Gu Fei. After all, this ferocious man was a quasi-sovereign exalt. In fact, the reason why Heavenly Fa and Little Monk Fanxio weren't on the spirited mountain was because they received the news before Gu Fei arrived. They knew that Gu Fei would be coming to settle the score with them. Therefore, the two of them went into hiding. After Gu Fei cleared the medicinal field on the spirited mountain, he soared into the sky and slammed his palm into the void above the spirited mountain. Boom! With a loud bang, Buddhist runes appeared in the void. A huge seal appeared in the sky above the spirited mountain. It was a huge Wan Buddhist seal. Chapter 3056. The entrance to the heavenly Buddha path was hidden at the peak of the spiritual mountain. This was no secret to the major powers in the human world. In the past, when Gu Fei, Erebus, and the rest came out from the heavenly Buddha path, the heavenly Buddha path's secret could no longer be hidden, exposed to the world. At this time, Gu Fei blasted a palm towards the sky above the spiritual mountain. A Buddhist seal immediately emerged in the void. The wand Buddhist seal emitted boundless Buddhist luminance. To ordinary Buddhist believers, the sudden appearance of the wand Buddhist seal at the peak of the spiritual mountain and the Buddhist luminance illuminating the world was a sign of Buddha. Wang. The void trembled. At the peak of the spiritual mountain, the wand Buddhist seal revolved slowly. Faint Buddhist chants rang in the void, as if a real Buddha had descended. The living beings near the spiritual mountain couldn't help chanting Buddhist chants and worshipping the spiritual mountain. One had to admit that the orthodoxy passed down by the Buddhist lords was truly extraordinary. The more devout one was towards Buddha, the stronger the willpower produced by the living beings, and the stronger the Buddhist energy on the spiritual mountain. What is he doing? On the spiritual mountain, the group of Buddhist saints thought that Gu Fei would leave just like that, but no one expected that Gu Fei would actually launch an attack on the heavenly Buddha sect. Is he trying to start a war with our Buddhist sect? One of the Buddhist saints couldn't sit still anymore. One had to know that compared to the spiritual mountain, the heavenly Buddha path was the foundation of Buddhism's longevity. If something were to happen to the heavenly Buddha path, the foundation of Buddhism would definitely be damaged. This was something none of the Buddhist disciples wanted to see. Whether it was the Buddhist forces led by heavenly Dharma or the Buddhist forces led by Fanshio, they were all disciples of Buddhism in essence. Where's ancestor Tian Shan? Some of the Buddhist saints thought of Patriarch Tian Shan, who had appeared before. It should be known that this Patriarch Tian Shan was a legend in the Buddhist League. He had even displayed the supreme Buddhist Dharma of the Buddha and himself, which was equivalent to the arrival of the eternal Buddha. However, ancestor Tian Shan didn't appear again. Heavenly Buddha path. At the peak of the spiritual mountain, Gu Fei raised his head and looked up. The 10,000 Buddhist seal was revolving, and endless Buddhist light shone down from the sky, enveloping the entire spiritual mountain. All the living beings on the spiritual mountain were bathed in the Buddhist light. In the void, there seemed to be Buddhist chants lingering, and the aura of the Buddhist Tao was vast and mighty. This time, all the Buddhists on Spirited Mountain felt as if they were listening to the ancient Buddha chanting sutras. They felt enlightened and enlightened. Some of the Buddhist disciples even broke through their current cultivation realm and entered a brand new world after being bathed in the Buddhist light. Did Fa Tian and Fanshio hide in the heavenly Buddha path? Gu Fei thought for a moment, then flipped his right hand, and a black blade immediately appeared in his hand. A peerlessly ferocious aura immediately spread out from the black blade. Rumble. The void was shaking. The monstrous fiendish aura that spread from the black blade collided with the Buddhist aura on Spirited Mountain, instantly breaking the peace on Spirited Mountain. Does he want to? At this time, a figure appeared in the void not far from the peak of Spirited Mountain. This person was shrouded in a layer of fire, and the shadow of a golden bird loomed over her body. At this time, all the Buddhist saints on Spirited Mountain were inexplicably shocked. Although they didn't sense any murderous intent from Gu Fei, they sensed a shocking battle intent. Roar! Gu Fei roared. His eyes were like lightning, and his long hair danced wildly. He held the blade with both hands and slashed at the 10,000 Buddhist seal in the sky with all his might. The blade slashed at the Buddhist seal. All the Buddhist saints who saw this scene felt their scalps go numb. This Gu Fei really dared to do this. Swoosh! An extremely sharp blade light rushed out from the black blade in Gu Fei's hand. The blade light instantly soared thousands of meters and directly broke the 10,000 Buddhist seal in the sky. How is this possible? Everyone was stunned as they stared dumbfoundedly at the 10,000 Buddhist seal in the sky dissipating into the void. The boundless Buddhist light was actually shattered by a saber light. As the Buddhist light dissipated, the countless Buddhist disciples who were immersed in the Buddhist light and comprehending the profound meaning of Buddhism were instantly awakened. It was as if someone had suddenly interrupted their enlightenment. Even those Buddhist saints who had long seen through the world of mortals couldn't help but be enraged. However, before the countless Buddhist disciples could vent their anger, their bodies instantly turned cold as an extreme fear gushed out from the depths of their souls. A ferocious aura that caused all living beings to tremble descended from the sky, causing the countless Buddhist disciples on Spirited Mountain to forget their anger. At this time, a hole appeared in the void above the peak of Spirited Mountain, and a peaceful aura seeped out from it. Swoosh. Gu Fei held the black blade in his hand and took a step forward. He actually rushed into the hole in the sky and disappeared inside. He actually forcefully broke the seal of the heavenly Buddha path. In the distant void, the Chaos Demon Lord couldn't help but be inexplicably shocked when he saw this scene. Gu Fei was only a quasi-supreme. How could he possibly break the seal of the heavenly Buddha path? That black blade. The Chaos Demon Lord's expression changed. This ferocious person. All the Buddhist disciples on Spirited Mountain were stunned. They never imagined that Gu Fei actually broke the seal of the heavenly Buddha path and forced his way into it. The heavenly Buddha path was a world created by the ancient Buddhist Lord. The seal of the heavenly Buddha path was definitely not something that a quasi-supreme could break. However, Gu Fei broke the seal with a single blade. The peerless, ominous blade is indeed ferocious. Someone saw through the origin of the black blade in Gu Fei's hand. In fact, the fact that Gu Fei had a divine weapon of the extreme Tao had already spread throughout the heavenly realm and the human realm. Only a divine weapon of the extreme Tao could break the seal of the heavenly Buddha path. However, even though the 10,000 Buddhist seal was broken by Gu Fei, it quickly reappeared in the sky. Endless Buddhist light gathered from all directions, and the 10,000 Buddhist seal reappeared. However, the crack in the void had disappeared. Boundless Buddhist luminance shone from the Buddhist seal, bathing the entire Spirited Mountain in Buddhist luminance once again. At this time, Gu Fei forcefully broke into the heavenly Buddha path. The first thing he did was to alarm those Buddhist old fogies in the heavenly Buddha path. A Buddhist chant resounded, and an old monk with a long white beard appeared in front of Gu Fei. At this time, the crack in the void behind Gu Fei was rapidly mending, and soon, it disappeared into the void. The place where Gu Fei was standing was above a valley. In this valley, there were many temples, and each temple exuded an ancient and vicissitude aura. Below Gu Fei was a square in front of a temple. In the center of the square, there was a Buddhist altar, giant lotus seat. If he had entered the heavenly Buddha path using the normal method, Gu Fei would have appeared on the Buddha altar below instead of appearing high up in the sky. Who are you? Why did you break into the heavenly Buddha path? The old monk did not address Gu Fei as benefactor, but as you. This was somewhat different from those Buddhist disciples in the human realm. You don't even recognize me. Gu Fei laughed. Although many years had passed since he caused havoc in the heavenly Buddha path, it was impossible for these big baldies to forget him. It's you. Hearing this, the old monk couldn't help but scrutinize Gu Fei. Very quickly, the old monk's expression changed. Don't panic. This time, I'm here to settle scores with Fation and Fanshto. This has nothing to do with you. Seeing the old monk's expression, Gu Fei explained. You're looking for them? Hearing this, the old monk was shocked. One must know that Fation and Fanshto were big shots in the Buddhist sect. For this fierce person to come looking for them, could it be that he wanted to kill them? That's right. Do you know where they are? Gu Fei looked at the old monk and asked. I don't know, but you can go to Mount Meru to take a look. The old monk did not wait for Gu Fei to say anything else and directly rushed down from the sky, disappearing into an ancient temple in the valley below. Mount Meru, Gu Fei looked towards the depths of the heavenly Buddha path. His gaze seemed to transcend the void and distance, and he saw a Buddha mountain floating in the void. The Buddha mountain was not connected to the earth, but it towered into the clouds, reaching the heavens and exuding a vast and boundless Buddhist aura. Around the Buddha mountain, there were many mountains and divine islands that emitted Buddhist lights. Other than the mountains and divine islands, there were also some mountain-like Buddha statues floating around the Buddha mountain. At this moment, a figure sitting cross-legged on the peak of Mount Meru suddenly opened his eyes. Two resplendent Buddhist lights immediately rushed out from his eyes. It was a little monk wearing a white monk robe, with red lips and white teeth. In his hand was a purple gold alms bowl. Gu Fei, you've come after all. The little monk stood up from the peak of Mount Meru with a calm expression. His gaze seemed to pierce through the void and landed on Gu Fei. Fanshto. Gu Fei smiled and took a step forward, instantly disappearing into the void. When he reappeared, he was already near Mount Meru. In the past, a demon appeared in the land of Buddha. The ancient Buddha turned into a demon and Mount Meru was in chaos. Even heavenly monk Fation personally made a move, but he was unable to subdue the ancient Buddha and it escaped. That year, Gu Fei and He Tian broke into the Buddhist palace of the ancient Buddhist lord and fought with heavenly monk Fation. Everything that happened that year was still vivid in Gu Fei's mind. But now, heavenly monk Fation did not appear, but the little monk Fanxio was on Mount Meru. This surprised Gu Fei. One should know that Mount Meru should be heavenly monk Fation's territory. Chapter 3057. The Buddhist land of the human world wasn't the real Mount Meru, but the Buddhist mountain in the heavenly Buddhist path was the real Mount Meru. At the peak of Mount Meru, there was also the Buddhist palace where the Buddhist lord once lived. This Buddhist palace wasn't simple. It was refined by the Buddhist lord with supreme Buddhist energy. The Buddhist palace had a total of 9 layers, and each layer was a boundless world. In the past, Gu Fei and He Tian had barged into 3 layers of the Buddhist palace. In the end, they fought against the devils in the yellow springs of the 3rd Buddhist palace and obtained the legendary 3 Boundaries Monument. The 3 Boundaries Monument was a supreme Tao artifact. It was originally used to suppress the devils in the yellow springs, but after Gu Fei took it away, the most powerful devils in the yellow springs were released. However, in the yellow springs of the 3rd Buddhist world, the 2 supreme devils, the Ghost Emperor and the Dark Sovereign, fought fiercely. In the end, both of them suffered heavy injuries and fell into the 9 underworld spring, vanishing. No one knew whether the 2 devils had fallen or not. In the end, Gu Fei and He Tian barged into the Buddhist array that sealed the yellow springs and returned to the desolate world of the 3rd Buddhist world. When he recalled the events of the past, even the current Gu Fei was absent-minded. He didn't know how the Sky Overlord Divine Emperor was doing all those years ago. Since he returned to the mortal dimension, the Sky Overlord Divine Emperor and the Yi clan had vanished without a trace. Unlike the Savage Beast Lord and the Primal Chaos Demon Lord, Heavenly Tyrant Shen King wasn't subdued by the Buddhist path. He and the Yi clan were free, without any restrictions. The human world was huge. Even with Gu Fei's ability, it wouldn't be easy to find them. Now, Gu Fei stood in the void, looking at the Buddha mountain that was enveloped in boundless Buddhist light. The Buddha mountain was still the same, and the eternal Buddha palace was still the same, but the people were no longer the people of the past. Gu Fei was now a quasi-supreme being, and the person in charge of the Millennium Buddha Palace was no longer heavenly monk Fation, but little Baldy Fanxio. Gu Fei had a taste of little Baldy Fanxio's methods. This guy was the same as Old Tortoise, a master of underhanded methods. At this time, little monk Fanxio stood in front of the ancient Buddha Palace. His aura actually merged with the entire Mount Meru. At this moment, he could use the Buddha power of Mount Meru for his own use. The Buddhist power that the entire Mount Meru had accumulated over the countless years was absolutely enormous. It was probably comparable to an extreme sacred tool. Gu Fei stared at the figure on Mount Meru with a solemn expression. At this time, little monk Fanxio was absolutely fearless. After all, this was his territory. Borrowing the Buddhist power of Mount Meru? Gu Fei said with a smile. Gu Fei, I didn't think that you would really dare to barge in here. Little monk Fanxio held the purple gold alms bowl in his hand. His white moon monk robe fluttered in the wind. There was no Buddhist light on his body, but he gave off a very special feeling. His aura had already merged with Mount Meru. Even if it was Gu Fei, if he didn't look with his naked eyes, he wouldn't be able to sense his existence. Che, this isn't some dragon's pool or tiger's den. Why wouldn't I dare to barge in? Even if this is a real dragon's pool or tiger's den, I'm not afraid. Gu Fei said in disdain. You're still as arrogant as ever. Little monk Fanxio suddenly smiled. After that, endless Buddhist light erupted from his body, and the shadow of a Buddha emerged from his body. The void seemed to be filled with Buddhist chants, as though there were countless Buddhist saints chanting. At this time, the group of Buddhist experts cultivating on Mount Meru were alarmed. Many of them were incomparably shocked. Wasn't the heavenly Buddha path already sealed? How could someone still barge in? It's him. One of the Buddhist experts recognized Gu Fei, and his expression couldn't help but change. One must know that in the past, this fellow had caused a huge storm in the heavenly Buddha path. Even now, the battle of that year still made these Buddhist experts' hearts palpitate. He's here again. Let's see how arrogant he can be this time. One of the Buddhist experts said. The fact that Gu Fei barged into the heavenly Buddha path once again made many Buddhist experts feel uneasy. One must know that this ferocious man wasn't a simple character. However, things were different now. Now, Heavenly Monk Fa was no longer in charge of Mount Meru. Gu Fei, I think it's better for you to join my Buddhist sect. The Buddhist sect is vast, and those who are fated with Buddhism can be saved. I think you're fated with Buddhism. Little monk Fanshio looked at Gu Fei indifferently and actually said such words. Haha. Hearing this, Gu Fei laughed out loud. Little Baldy, it seems like I'm fated with you. Why don't you leave the Buddhist sect and become my disciple? Gu Fei said with a smile. Haha. Little monk Fanshio also laughed, but just as he was laughing, the purple gold alms bowl in his hand suddenly emitted a buzzing sound. A deafening sound rang out. Then, it instantly soared into the sky from his hand. It became as huge as a mountain and shrouded Gu Fei. A heaven-devouring force surged out from the purple gold alms bowl, wanting to suck Gu Fei into it. Little monk Fanshio made his move. He understood Gu Fei very well. This person's Tao heart was incomparably firm, and it was impossible for him to fool such an existence. Since he couldn't fool Gu Fei with his glib tongue, he might as well directly subdue him. All experts in the Buddhist sect were like this. Since they couldn't fool others into joining their Buddhist sect, they would use force. In the past, the Chaos Demon Lord and the Savage Beast Lord were subdued by Heavenly Monk Fa. Rumble. The void trembled. Gu Fei discovered that in the purple gold alms bowl, there was a wand Buddha seal emerging. The power of Buddha was vast and mighty, and he flew towards the purple gold alms bowl involuntarily. However, Gu Fei directly punched the purple gold alms bowl. A violent and tyrannical force erupted from his fist, directly sending the purple gold alms bowl flying. Little monk Fanshio waved his hand, and the purple gold alms bowl flew back into his hand. A quasi-supreme being is indeed powerful. Little monk Fanshio held the purple gold alms bowl in his hand, and his face was still calm. Although the combat strength displayed by Gu Fei was strong, it wasn't enough to move him. Rumble. At this time, a thunderous sound came from the void. Rays of Buddha light rushed out from Mount Meru, turning into Buddha seals, directly imprinting on little monk Fanshio's body. This was the blessing of Buddha energy. Little monk Fanshio was borrowing the power of Mount Meru. Gu Fei didn't make a move to stop little monk Fanshio. He was also very curious. Even if little monk Fanshio borrowed the power of Mount Meru, how strong could he be? Vast waves of Buddha energy spread out from little monk Fanshio's body, becoming stronger and stronger. In the end, he seemed to have transformed into an ancient Buddha, and the Buddha aura spread throughout the entire heavenly Buddha sect. The heavenly Buddha sect was a vast world established by the ancient Buddha, and there were countless Buddhist experts cultivating in seclusion in the heavenly Buddha sect. At this time, all the Buddhist experts were alarmed. This Gu Fei is really arrogant. In an ancient temple in a valley at the entrance of the heavenly Buddha sect, an old monk suddenly opened his eyes and said such words. This old monk was the one Gu Fei met when he first entered the heavenly Buddha sect. It's the Buddha and I are together Dharma again. Gu Fei couldn't help but frown when he saw this scene. One had to know that this Dharma contained great power, as if the ancient Buddha had reappeared. However, very quickly, Gu Fei discovered that the Dharma displayed by little monk Fanshio was different in nature from the Buddha and I are together Dharma. Little monk Fanshio was only borrowing power. He didn't transform into the ancient Buddha. He was still himself. Very soon, the little monk Fanshio stopped. At this moment, his body was imprinted with many Buddhist seals. These seals sealed an extremely powerful Buddhist power in his body. Gu Fei, you didn't stop me just now, but now it's too late. Little monk Fanshio stared at Gu Fei and said, Haha, it's not too late. Come, let me see how strong you are. Gu Fei waved at little monk Fanxio on the peak of Mount Meru. I will definitely not disappoint you, little monk Fanxio said indifferently. Is that so? We'll only know after we fight, Gu Fei said and took a step forward. His figure instantly disappeared into the void. At the next moment, when he reappeared, he was already in front of little monk Fanxio and threw a punch at little monk Fanxio. This punch didn't have any energy waves, but it caused the entire void to collapse and be destroyed. A terrifying aura of destruction spread out. At this time, little monk Fanxio stretched out his right hand and slapped out. Bam! Gu Fei's fist collided with little monk Fanxio's palm. Two extremely powerful forces collided, causing the void to collapse and pitch-black spatial cracks to spread out in all directions. Rumble. The two forces turned into a wave of destruction that spread out in all directions, causing the void to be annihilated continuously. Gu Fei only felt a strong force coming from little monk Fanxio's fist, and he was immediately sent flying backward. The little monk, Fanxio, was also affected. Buddhist seals appeared on his body, and he was sent flying by Gu Fei's fist force involuntarily. Again, Gu Fei roared furiously and stopped his retreat. Then, he pounced at the little monk Fanxio. Two figures moved at high speed on the peak of Mount Meru, and an intense battle broke out. Terrifying energy waves spread out from the two figures, startling all directions. At this time, the Buddhist experts in the entire heavenly Buddha sect could no longer sit still. The Buddhist experts who were further away even made their way to Mount Meru. One should know that it wasn't easy to come across a battle between peerless experts of this level. Some of the old Buddhist experts who had been cultivating in seclusion in the heavenly Buddha sect for countless years could no longer sit still and rushed to Mount Meru. Chapter 3058. Boom! Bang! Intense sounds of collisions rang out from the skies above Mount Meru, spreading across a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Countless living beings were alarmed, and all of them were indescribably shocked. Most of the living beings in the heavenly Buddha path had already converted to Buddhism. Even those ferocious beasts and ferocious birds had become docile after being influenced by the Buddhist teachings. What's going on? Someone actually broke into the heavenly Buddha path and is attacking Mount Meru. On a mountain peak thousands of miles away from Mount Meru, a white-robed cultivator sitting cross-legged on the peak suddenly opened his eyes. A golden light shone in the depths of his eyes. This was a hermit, incomparably powerful. His body was shrouded in Tao light, and the shadow of a ferocious bird could be vaguely seen on his body. It was the shadow of a golden-winged roc. The golden-winged roc was definitely an incomparably powerful existence. Legends had it that this type of divine bird fed on dragons and was the nemesis of the dragon race. Therefore, the golden-winged roc had always been enemies with the dragon race. Their grudges had been entangled for countless years. Once the golden-winged roc and the dragon race met, it would definitely be a huge battle. Ordinary experts of the dragon race were naturally not a match for the golden-winged roc. They would usually end up as food for the golden-winged roc. However, if the experts of the golden-winged roc race were to meet the royalty of the dragon race, it would be hard to say who would win. The royalty of the dragon race was definitely not something that ordinary dragons could compare to. This was because the royalty of the dragon race was the bloodline of the Tai Huang, possessing the true dragon bloodline of the Tai Huang. Who was the Tai Huang? Even the ancestor of the golden-winged roc wasn't a match for him. Swish! That white-robed man leaped into the sky from the mountain peak, disappearing into the horizon in an instant. His speed was extremely fast. At this moment, in other regions of the heavenly Buddha path, there were also incomparably powerful living beings rushing out. These living beings only had one goal, Mount Meru. Haha, even with the Buddhist energy, you only have this much combat strength? On the peak of Mount Meru, Gu Fei laughed as he attacked the little monk Fanxio. The powerful aura of a quasi-supremacy erupted from his body. Gu Fei, don't be arrogant. This is Mount Meru, not your Wanxiang city. Little monk Fanxio still had a calm expression. With his Buddhist cultivation, even if Mount Tai were to collapse in front of him, his expression would definitely not change. Beams of immortal Buddha light pierced towards Gu Fei like peerless divine weapons. Gu Fei laughed and waved his hands. He actually used his hands to shatter the piercing Buddhist light. Then, he slapped his palm toward the little monk Fanxiu. Rumble. As Gu Fei struck out with his palm, the entire space in front of his palm began to tremble, and pitch-black spatial cracks began to appear. The boundless Buddha light instantly dissipated in the void under the attack of Gu Fei's palm. Boom! With a bang, the void collapsed. The little monk, Fanxiu, was directly slapped into the shattered void. The space where Mount Meru was located should have been incomparably stable, but under Gu Fei's palm strike, a large hole was directly blasted open. Seeing this scene, the Buddhist experts on Mount Meru were all dumbfounded. This ferocious man was indeed ferocious. His combat strength was also rarely seen in the world. One must know that even a quasi-supreme being would not be able to shatter the void where Mount Meru was located so easily. Swoosh! Gu Fei took a step forward and directly rushed into the shattered void. His palm was still slapping towards little monk Fanxiu, causing a huge tremor in the shattered void. Bam! Gu Fei's palm instantly imprinted on little monk Fanxiu's body. Little monk Fanxiu let out a furious roar. Immediately, countless Buddhist runes rushed out from his body. With the mighty Buddhist power, Gu Fei's palm was blocked. Only Gu Fei knew that although his palm seemed to have landed on little monk Fanxiu's body, there was a layer of Buddha light under Fanxiu's clothes that blocked his palm. Oomph! Gu Fei snorted coldly and directly exerted force with his right hand. An even more powerful force immediately erupted from his right hand. Cracks immediately appeared on the layer of Buddha light under little monk Fanxiu's clothes. What? Little monk Fanxiu was taken aback. He only felt as if he had been hit by an immemorial divine mountain. His entire body immediately flew backward and directly crashed into the depths of the chaotic void. Buddhist mystic art is indeed a little powerful. Gu Fei retracted his right hand, but his expression was somewhat solemn. No one knew better than him how powerful his palm was. Even a divine mountain would be smashed into dust by this palm strike, let alone little monk Fanxiu's body of flesh and blood. Little monk Fanxiu's cultivation was only at the great perfection holy venerate. Although he had 1 foot in the quasi-supreme realm, he was still not a quasi-supreme being. Even a true quasi-supreme being might not be able to withstand this palm strike from Gu Fei. He knew that little monk Fanxiu had borrowed the Buddha power of Mount Meru to protect himself, which was why he was able to withstand his palm strike. Otherwise, little monk Fanxiu would have long been destroyed in both body and soul. Buzz. At this moment, a ball of Buddha light appeared in the chaotic void. A huge Buddha figure sat in the depths of the chaotic void, emitting boundless Buddha light. The boundless chaotic chi was dispersed by the Buddha light. Rumble. The huge Buddha figure directly attacked Gu Fei. A Buddha palm appeared in the void, slapping towards Gu Fei. On the palm of the Buddha, there was a wand Buddha seal. A powerful Buddhist power erupted from the Buddha's palm. It was as if a supreme Buddha saint was splitting the heavens and earth apart. Gu Fei smiled when he saw this. Afterwards, he raised his right hand and without even thinking, he sent a palm strike at the Buddha's palm. Chaotic force erupted from his palm. Boom! With a loud bang, the two palms collided with each other. It was as if two ancient divine mountains had collided, shaking the entire chaotic void. The vast destructive power directly caused countless cracks to appear in the void outside. The entire world seemed like it was about to collapse. On top of Mount Meru, countless Buddhist experts raised their heads and looked up. In the void, pitch-black spatial cracks appeared like black lightning bolts in the sky above Buddha Mountain. A powerful pressure came down from the collapsed void. All the Buddhist experts on Mount Meru could feel the immense pressure. At this moment, Gu Fei and little monk Fanxiu were engaged in an intense battle in the chaotic void. The chaotic light and Buddha light would break through the void from time to time. All the living beings were terrified. These existences were simply too powerful. Gu Fei and little monk Fanxiu were moving rapidly in the chaotic void, fighting endlessly. It had to be said that little monk Fanxiu's methods were truly brilliant. He borrowed the power of Mount Meru with the supreme Buddhist Dharma. Otherwise, he would not be Gu Fei's opponent at all. Little monk Fan Xiao seemed to have transformed into an invincible Buddhist saint. He displayed the powerful battle prowess of a quasi-supreme. The Buddhist Dharma was boundless as he constantly attacked Gu Fei. He separated his hands and 18 Buddhist weapons immediately appeared around him. Then, he waved his right hand, and the 18 Buddhist weapons immediately slashed towards Gu Fei. These were Buddhist weapons condensed from Buddhist energy. They were no different from real Buddhist weapons. If he was hit, even Gu Fei would be injured. Moreover, it was not an ordinary injury, but an injury of the great Tao. However, Gu Fei possessed an extremely strong physique. His hands danced and collided with the Buddhist weapons that were slashing at him, causing them to be knocked away. "I didn't expect you to be able to borrow such great power," Gu Fei said as he attacked. The battle prowess displayed by little monk Fan Xiao was beyond his expectations. He had really underestimated Fan Xiao. "There are still many things that you can't imagine," little monk Fan Xiao said. Buzz. The Buddhist light behind his head turned into a wheel and flew towards Gu Fei. On the wheel, there were faint shadows of Buddha. 6 doors appeared on the wheel. Behind each door, there was a mighty aura, as if they were connected to the legendary 6 paths of reincarnation. The 6 paths of reincarnation. Seeing this, Gu Fei could not help but be shocked. Legend had it that the ancient Buddhist lord wanted to establish the 6 paths of reincarnation, but he did not succeed. But now, little monk Fan Xiao displayed this supreme Buddhist Dharma. The 6 mighty forces from the 6 paths of reincarnation instantly enveloped Gu Fei. He immediately felt as if his spiritual soul was about to be divided into 6 parts and devoured by the 6 doors on the wheel. Roar! Gu Fei roared out furiously. His long hair danced in the wind as a domineering presence erupted from his body. His spiritual soul was extremely stable, so it was impossible for it to be devoured by the 6 paths of reincarnation. He directly charged into the sky, charging towards the descending 6 paths of reincarnation. In the next moment, there was a boom. With a loud bang, he actually slammed directly into the 6 paths of reincarnation disc and sent it flying. What? Little monk Fan Xiao was extremely shocked when he saw this. Never did he think that Gu Fei would actually use such a brutal method to fend off his 6 paths of reincarnation. Rumble! Gu Fei swung his fist and chaotic force erupted from it. It shook up the surrounding space, and he threw a punch at the disc of Sasura. The legendary 6 paths of reincarnation had actually been knocked away by a single punch from Gu Fei. There was even a clear imprint of a fist on the 6 paths of reincarnation. How is this possible? Little monk Fan Xiao was extremely shocked. He realized that he had still underestimated Gu Fei's battle prowess. Gu Fei's martial body was actually so powerful. What 6 paths of reincarnation? I'll beat you up. Gu Fei was incomparably domineering. He directly displayed the primal chaos fist. This was a simple combat skill, but it was also a powerful combat skill that he had developed. Chapter 3059. Gu Fei was extremely ferocious. He actually used his flesh and blood to fight against the 6 paths of reincarnation. He punched the 6 paths of reincarnation again and again, causing the 6 paths of reincarnation to shake continuously and cracks appeared on its surface. Buddhist inscriptions appeared and intertwined on the 6 paths of reincarnation. The 6 doors that appeared on the 6 paths of reincarnation were still emitting a powerful devouring power. However, this power could no longer affect Gu Fei. Fan Xiao was shocked to the extreme. He could not believe that Gu Fei's martial body was so powerful. How is this possible? One had to know that even if the 6 paths of reincarnation was not an extreme Buddhist artifact, it was still a top-notch quasi-supreme Buddhist artifact. Gu Fei's martial body was actually much stronger than the top-notch quasi-supreme Buddhist artifact. This was the only way he could rely on his fists to cause countless cracks to appear on the 6 paths of reincarnation. Rumble. In the chaotic void, extremely powerful energy waves surged out from the 6 paths of Samsara disc, and extremely dazzling Buddhist light seeped out from the cracks that had opened up. Fan Xiao was desperately activating the 6 paths of reincarnation. The strongest Buddhist power spread out from the 6 paths of reincarnation, and the 6 doors on it turned into 6 black holes. Swoosh! Gu Fei was instantly sucked in by the 6 black holes that appeared on the 6 paths of reincarnation. The 6 black holes emitted a mighty devouring power. What? Gu Fei was shocked. He did not expect the 6 paths of reincarnation to have such power. His body was firmly sucked into the 6 paths of reincarnation. This is the price of underestimating me. Fan Xiao sat cross-legged in the void, his body emitting endless Buddhist light. He kept forming seals with his hands and sent out Buddhist seals towards the 6 paths of reincarnation. As the Buddhist seals entered the 6 paths of reincarnation, the countless cracks on the 6 paths of reincarnation that were caused by Gu Fei's fists gradually disappeared. What? Gu Fei sensed the changes to the 6 paths of reincarnation disc and was shocked. This Buddhist item wasn't simple. It was actually a Buddhist item that could be repaired. Roar! Gu Fei roared out furiously as chaotic force erupted from his body. 9 chaotic runes appeared on his body as an even more powerful martial power erupted from his body. His body shook and the void around him instantly shattered. The force of the martial way had actually sent the 6 paths of reincarnation disc flying. Heaven-covering palm. Gu Fei didn't hesitate as he slammed his palm towards the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. A huge chaotic hand broke through the layers of Buddhist power and enveloped the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. Boom! The primal chaos hand descended and directly sent the 6 paths of reincarnation disc flying. A strange sound rang out from the 6 paths of reincarnation disc and countless cracks appeared on it. This time, the 6 paths of reincarnation disc was almost shattered by Gu Fei's palm. The little monk Fan Xiao's body shook and he almost fell from the void. A trace of blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. He had suffered a great impact. Holy **T. The little monk Fan Xiao was shocked. One should know that he had borrowed the power of Mount Meru, yet he still wasn't Gu Fei's opponent. Was this guy really invincible? He had always been unconvinced by Gu Fei and had always wanted to compete with Gu Fei. But now, it seemed that he really wasn't as good as Gu Fei. Wait until I become a quasi-sovereign. I'll fight you again. The little monk Fan Xiao stood up from the void and wiped the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. Then, he said, "Haha, do you think you'll become a quasi-sovereign one day?" Gu Fei laughed. "You want to kill me?" The little monk Fan Xiao waved his hand, and the 6 paths of reincarnation disc immediately flew towards him and landed in his hand. What do you think? Gu Fei was still laughing. At this moment, the aura that was exuding from his body was still rising. In the end, the entire chaotic void was shaking. At this moment, Gu Fei was just like a supreme being of chaos. Every single move he made was filled with immense power. 9 secrets of the immortal path. The little monk Fan Xiao naturally knew about his opponent, Gu Fei. He knew that not only was Gu Fei a martial arts successor, but he had also cultivated in the immortal path. He knew that Gu Fei had obtained the 9 secrets of the immortal Tao. The 9 secrets of the immortal Tao were supreme arts created by the legendary supreme Tao ancestor. Seems like you have a good eye, Gu Fei said. He was using the Heaven Ascension secret skill, causing his battle strength to soar to a level that made even the little monk's heart palpitate. His battle strength could be said to be infinitely close to that of an supreme. But of course, this was only a guess of Gu Fei's. One must know that the battle strength of an supreme was definitely not something he could imagine. But you still can't kill me. The little monk Fan Xiao laughed all of a sudden. His figure then disappeared into the void, turning into a ray of Buddhist light that entered the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. What? Gu Fei couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this scene. After the Buddhist light that the little monk Fan Xiao had turned into entered the 6 paths of reincarnation disc, the 6 paths of reincarnation disc immediately emitted boundless Buddhist light. Buddhist chants seemed to be ringing in the void again. A Buddhist figure appeared on the disc. The 6 black holes that Gu Fei had shattered with his palm reappeared on the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. They were 6 black holes that seemed to be able to devour everything, as though they were truly connected to the 6 paths of reincarnation. An incarnation. It was impossible for Gu Fei not to be shocked when he saw this. This little monk Fancio had actually used this move on him. The one fighting him was actually an incarnation of his. "You're really as cunning as ever," Gu Fei said, looking at the 6 paths of reincarnation disc that was floating in the chaotic void. "Haha, why? Now you know that you can't kill me, right?" The Buddhist figure that appeared on the 6 paths of reincarnation disc laughed. "Damn it." Gu Fei flipped his right hand, and a black saber immediately appeared in his hand. Then, without thinking, he slashed at the 6 paths of reincarnation disc in front of him. The Buddhist figure on the 6 paths of reincarnation disc was instantly shocked. However, at this moment, an extremely sharp saber light had already slashed at the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. The Buddhist figure immediately dissipated. In the next moment, the entire 6 paths of reincarnation disc was split in half by the black saber in Gu Fei's hand. Then, with a boom, it exploded into countless fragments that shot in all directions. A primordial spirit imprint dissipated in the void along with the 6 paths of reincarnation disc's collapse. "You win." Gu Fei sensed a weak spiritual fluctuation, and a voice resounded in his mind. "How dare you fool me?" Gu Fei held the black saber in his hand and said coldly. Then, he took a step forward and instantly broke through the layers of chaos, charging out of the shattered void. One of the incarnations of little monk Fancio was destroyed by Gu Fei. Even the 6 paths of reincarnation disc was destroyed. This was something that little monk Fancio did not expect. He had underestimated Gu Fei's combat strength. At this moment, in a cave in the mountain of Mount Meru, a little monk who was sitting cross-legged on the ground suddenly opened his eyes. He was shocked and a drop of blood seeped out from his glabella. "Ancestral Master, you." An old monk with a white beard and eyebrows who was serving at the side was shocked when he saw this. "Don't worry." The little monk waved his hand and said. This little monk was the little monk Fancio. He was hiding in Mount Meru. Mount Meru was no ordinary Buddha mountain. It was a place where the ancient Buddhist lord had once lived, leaving behind the ancient Buddhist lord's aura. Although Gu Fei was strong, it was hard for him to sense the situation inside Mount Meru. "I didn't expect that not only did Gu Fei kill my incarnation, but he also destroyed the 6 paths of reincarnation disc. It's a pity for that Buddhist treasure." Little monk Fancio sighed and said, "What?" The old monk was shocked to the extreme when he heard this. That Gu Fei was actually so strong that even the ancestral master had to avoid him. The old monk was unconvinced, but he did not dare to say anything because ancestral master Fancio's words could never be wrong. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to live until now. In the eyes of many Buddhist experts, little monk Fancio was even better and stronger than heavenly monk Fation. He was the successor of the ancient Buddhist lord. However, heavenly monk Fation was the old ancestor of the heavenly Buddha sect. In the heavenly Buddha sect, many Buddhist saints did not know of Fancio. They only knew of heavenly Dharma. It was also because of this that the Buddhist sects were divided into 2 factions. Some supported Fancio, while some were willing to follow heavenly Dharma. Although the 2 giants of the Buddhist sects did not fight each other, there was a lot of competition in the dark. In the end, for some unknown reason, Fancio was able to enter Mount Meru and force heavenly monk Fation to leave. When heavenly monk Fation left, he naturally brought many Buddhist experts with him. In this way, the Buddhist sects were really separated. The 2 giants of the Buddhist sects finally parted ways. Fancio entered Mount Meru, but where did heavenly monk Fation go? Not even the Buddhist saints on Mount Meru knew. At this time, Mount Meru shook. All the Buddhist experts looked at the figure above Mount Meru in disbelief. How can it be him? Where's ancestral master Fancio? A Buddhist saint exclaimed. The person who appeared at the peak of Mount Meru was not the little monk Fancio, but Gu Fei. This made the Buddhist saints inexplicably shocked. Could it be that ancestral master Fancio lost? Someone said. Hearing the words of the Buddhist saints on Mount Meru, Gu Fei was a little surprised. It seemed that even the Buddhist saints on Mount Meru did not know that little monk Fancio only used an incarnation to fight with him. "Humph," Gu Fei sneered. A strong wave of divine sense immediately spread from his body, covering the entire Mount Meru in an instant. What is he trying to do? Chapter 3060. Actually using an incarnation to fool this daddy. Little bald donkey Fancio, come out and accept your death. Gu Fei's divine sense enveloped the entire Mount Meru, and his voice was transmitted into the ears of all the Buddhist experts on Mount Meru. What is this guy trying to do? All the Buddhist experts on Mount Meru were dumbfounded. This Gu Fei was truly arrogant, actually daring to behave atrociously on Mount Meru. How many years had it been since something like this happened? Ever since Gu Fei wreaked havoc in the Heavenly Buddha Path, there had never been a case of someone breaking into the Heavenly Buddha Path. But today, the same person broke into the Heavenly Buddha Path once again, wanting to wreak havoc. But this time was different. Gu Fei broke into the Heavenly Buddha Path alone. To Gu Fei, the Heavenly Buddha Path was a place that couldn't be casually destroyed. One must know, this place might contain the most important arrangements left behind by the ancient Buddhist Lord. Gu Fei wasn't someone who didn't know what was important. The power of the Buddhist sect might be able to change the situation in the future. Once the world was plunged into chaos, the devils would invade. Who would be the final enemy? No one knew. Inside a cave dwelling on Mount Meru, the little monk Fancio also heard Gu Fei's words, but he only smiled and didn't say anything. He also didn't want to go out. Ancestor, this Gu Fei is really too arrogant, the old monk beside Fancio said. Let him be arrogant. The little monk Fancio laughed. At this time, at the peak of Mount Meru, Gu Fei's gaze swept across the surroundings. Wherever his gaze landed, countless experts didn't dare to look him in the eye. In the void around Mount Meru, many powerful figures appeared. Since these people could cultivate in the Heavenly Buddha Path, it was obvious that they had long converted to Buddhism. Now, someone actually dared to barge into Mount Meru, causing these people to be inexplicably shocked. One must know that this place was the ancient Buddhist Lord's Tao field. Where did this fella come from, actually daring to behave atrociously in Mount Meru? A loud shout rang out, and an incomparably powerful figure appeared in the void opposite of Gu Fei. A pair of golden eyes shone with Buddha luminance. It's the great rock golden-winged Dharma protector. On Mount Sumeru, a Buddhist saint recognized this white-clothed cultivator. According to legend, the ancestor of the great golden-winged Pong was the great Pong protector that followed the Buddhist Lord for thousands of years. Of course, the current great Pong protector wasn't the same great Pong protector from back then. However, the current great Pong protector's cultivation was extremely powerful. That year, when Gu Fei wreaked havoc in the Heavenly Buddha sect, Guardian de Pong was still in a deep slumber. Naturally, Guardian de Pong didn't recognize Gu Fei. It's just a little bird. Gu Fei glanced at the golden-winged rock protector and said indifferently, "What?" The white-robed cultivator was furious. Although he cultivated the Buddhist Dharma, it was the Vajra art that subdued demons and devils. The wrath of the Vajra was no small matter. How dare you look down on this protector? The golden-winged rock was enraged. A spot of Buddha luminance immediately emerged from between his eyebrows. It was as dazzling as a golden sun. With a swoosh, a crescent Buddha luminance rushed out from between his eyebrows and slashed at Gu Fei. The crescent Buddha luminance flitted across the void, leaving a pitch-black crack in its wake. Seeing this scene, Gu Fei smiled. If it was the golden-winged rock that had accompanied the Buddhist Lord for thousands of years, he would still have some misgivings. However, Gu Fei knew that this golden-winged rock was only a descendant of the golden Pong ancestor. Gu Fei directly waved his hand, and with a clang, the crescent Buddha luminance was sent flying. Then, the Buddha luminance directly shattered in the void. What? The golden-winged rock's expression changed when he saw this. This guy was so powerful that he could casually break his Buddhist demon-subduing technique. The Buddhist demon-subduing technique was definitely not weaker than any other technique because it was a supreme technique created by the Buddhist Lord for thousands of years. Little bird, you're not my match. Call your master out. Gu Fei looked at the white-robed cultivator and said with a faint smile, "What did you say?" The golden-winged rock was both shocked and angry. Gu Fei's battle prowess was too great. This made the golden-winged rock's heart palpitate. This fierce person truly lived up to his name. Although he had never seen Gu Fei, he had heard of Gu Fei's ferocious name. Damn it, I don't believe I can't beat you. The white-robed cultivator gritted his teeth. An extremely powerful fluctuation of Buddhist energy erupted from his body, and the figure of a golden-winged roc emerged from his body. Swoosh! The golden-winged roc that had emerged from the white-robed cultivator's body directly rushed out and fiercely pounced at Gu Fei. Spiritual will manifestation technique. Gu Fei smiled. A figure also emerged from his body. The figure took a step forward and met the golden-winged roc head-on. This was an incorporeal figure formed from an extremely powerful spiritual will, but it was not an essence spirit. It should be known that battles between essence spirits were extremely dangerous. No one would be willing to use their essence spirits to battle unless they were truly fighting with their lives on the line. Once their essence spirits were destroyed, their physical bodies would become soulless walking corpses. The golden-winged roc had some misgivings, so it had used the spiritual will manifestation technique to compete with Gu Fei. Of course, if Gu Fei did not want to compete with it in terms of spiritual will, he could directly destroy the spiritual will manifestation technique. However, Gu Fei naturally wanted the Buddhist golden-winged roc to accept his defeat wholeheartedly. At that moment, the two silhouettes formed by the divine will were already locked in battle. Extremely powerful divine will fluctuations erupted from the two silhouettes. Rumble. The void shook. The spiritual will of the two experts was so powerful that it could shake the void. It was no different from the two experts fighting with their real bodies. The Buddhist experts on Mount Meru were dumbfounded when they saw this. The golden-winged roc's cultivation and combat strength were actually so powerful. In fact, this was the first time many people on Mount Meru had seen the golden-winged roc fight. It should be known that the golden-winged roc had always been in a deep slumber on Mount Meru. It had not been long since the golden-winged roc had awakened from his slumber. At this moment, the white-robed cultivator that the golden-winged roc had transformed into sat cross-legged in the void. An incomparably dazzling Buddhist light rushed out from his glabella. It was as if a golden sun had been fixed on his glabella. On the other hand, Gu Fei was still standing casually in the void. However, there was also a finger-sized chaos divine light shining brightly on his glabella. Within the chaos divine light on Gu Fei's glabella, there were vague chaos Tao patterns intertwining. The difference in strength was already very obvious. Although the golden-winged roc's cultivation was powerful, it was still not enough in front of Gu Fei. Kill. The figure formed by Gu Fei's spiritual force directly rode on the golden-winged roc's body. His left hand grabbed the feathers on the golden-winged roc's head, while his right hand swung and punched the golden-winged roc's head repeatedly. The golden-winged roc wailed miserably. Its entire body erupted with golden light, and there was a clanging sound. Its feathers transformed into peerless swordlight that pierced towards Gu Fei. At such a close distance, Gu Fei's spiritual force incarnation had no time to dodge. The countless golden swordlight pierced his spiritual force incarnation. However, a layer of divine armor suddenly appeared on Gu Fei's spiritual force incarnation. The countless swordlight pierced the divine armor and were all repelled. What? The white-robed cultivator sitting cross-legged in the void could not help but stare at this scene. Boom! At this moment, there was a loud noise. Gu Fei's spiritual force incarnation had actually punched the golden-winged roc's head. The golden-winged roc's spiritual force incarnation immediately dissipated in the void. Roar! The white-robed cultivator screamed and fell from the sky. Everyone was stunned by this scene. That was the golden-winged roc protector. How could it be defeated just like that? It was unbelievable. Just as the white-robed cultivator was about to land on Mount Meru, his falling momentum instantly stopped. A moment later, he shot up into the sky and once again appeared in front of Gu Fei. At this moment, Gu Fei's divine will incarnation turned into a streak of chaotic divine light and flew back into the space between his eyebrows. The white-robed cultivator in front of Gu Fei was in a terrible state. His hair was a mess, and his forehead had split open. Golden blood seeped out of the crack. The white-robed cultivator looked somewhat tired. His spiritual force had been severely injured. "Why? Do you still want to fight?" said Gu Fei smilingly as he looked at the white-clad cultivator. "I have to admit that you are really strong." The white-robed cultivator stared at Gu Fei and gritted his teeth. So you're admitting defeat? Gu Fei said. Admit defeat? Humph, impossible, the white-robed cultivator said. He was the golden-winged rock protector and had a very high status in the Buddhist sect. Naturally, he had his own pride and would not easily admit defeat. Why? You don't want to fight, and you don't admit defeat. What do you want then? Gu Fei looked at the white-robed cultivator curiously. I'll fight you next time. With that, the white-robed cultivator turned and left. Gu Fei did not attack. He did not have any grudges with the golden-winged rock, so there was no need for them to fight to the death. They were just simple opponents. Just as the golden-winged rock left, a pitch-black vortex suddenly appeared in the sky above Mount Meru. A heaven-devouring force descended from the vortex and enveloped Gu Fei. Gu Fei looked up. His long hair and clothes fluttered in the wind. He was as still as a mountain, but the heaven-devouring force could not move him. Go in. A loud shout came from within Mount Meru. Then, a huge, 10,000 Buddhist seal rushed out from Mount Meru and headed towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei was shocked. He was fighting against the vortex that had suddenly appeared in the sky, but someone was attacking him from behind. Chapter 3061. Rumble. Within the heavenly Buddha path, at the peak of Mount Meru, a pitch-black vortex spun. An extremely powerful heaven-devouring power surged out of the vortex, as if it wanted to devour the entire world. The suction force of the black vortex was so strong that even the surrounding light was sucked in. Even the Buddhist light on Mount Meru was sucked in and thrown into the black vortex. Gu Fei was originally unafraid of the black vortex. He stood as still as a mountain. The void around him was constantly collapsing under the suction force, but he still remained motionless. However, when the swastika Buddhist seal on Mount Meru soared into the sky and pressed towards him, the situation changed. The swastika Buddhist seal condensed the powerful Buddhist power of Mount Meru. It was like a Buddhist artifact that had been awakened. It directly sent Gu Fei into the pitch-black vortex. What? Gu Fei's shock was no small matter. When he was sucked in by the black hole, he actually sensed the aura of heaven and earth. Behind the black hole was a world. The swastika Buddhist seal that rushed out from Mount Meru directly sealed the black vortex in the sky. The black vortex gradually shrunk and finally disappeared completely. The huge swastika Buddhist seal spun on the peak of Mount Meru, emitting boundless Buddhist light and sealing the void of heaven and earth. In the distant sky, the golden-winged rock that had previously retreated was indescribably shocked. Gu Fei had actually been sealed in that place. Even if he was a quasi-supreme, it seemed that it would be difficult for him to escape. I originally wanted to fight you again, but it seems that I won't have the chance. The golden-winged rock sighed and turned to leave. This time, he directly returned to his own place of cultivation and went into seclusion. Everyone who saw this scene was dumbfounded. No one would have thought that it would be such an ending. The fierce Gu Fei had actually been sealed in that legendary place. Legend had it that the ancient Buddhist lord had traveled the 3 realms and 6 paths and subdued countless demons and ghosts. However, not all demons and ghosts would submit to him. Those that did not submit to the ancient Buddhist lord were directly sealed. Of course, among the creatures sealed by the ancient Buddhist lord, most were the ferocious demons of the demons. A demon that the ancient Buddhist lord had personally suppressed was naturally no small matter. No one knew where the legendary ancient Buddhist lord's demon sealing ground was. Right now, Gu Fei might have been sealed into the legendary land of devil suppression by a certain Buddhist ancestor on Mount Meru. If that was the case, then Gu Fei would definitely not be able to escape. A crisis had passed. At this time, within the belly of Mount Meru, in a cave abode, a token floated in front of the little monk Fan Xiao. A Buddhist seal was hidden within the token. Haha, ancestral master, this time, Gu Fei is done for? The old monk beside Fan Xiao laughed heartily. He was incomparably excited because the Buddhist sect and Gu Fei had been entangled in all kinds of grievances. Gu Fei had long been regarded as a great calamity by the Buddhist sect. Others might be finished, but not Gu Fei. Little monk Fanshio grabbed the token that was floating in front of him. It was an antique, a Buddhist token that had been refined by a Buddhist lord for thousands of years. Using this Buddhist token, one could open the legendary ancient Buddhist lord's demon sealing ground. One had to admit that little monk Fanshio had once again tricked Gu Fei. This guy was too smart and patient. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to trick Gu Fei. At this time, the vicinity of Mount Meru was bustling with noise and excitement. All the experts cultivating in the heavenly Buddha sect were alarmed. Many ancient existences appeared on Mount Meru. The heavenly Buddha sect's true strength was finally revealed. The heavenly Buddha sect was not simple. Other than the ancient Buddhist saints on Mount Meru, these ancient existences that had never come out into the world were the true backbone of the sect. Let's go out and meet those old fogies. Little monk Fanshio put away the Buddhist token in his hand, stood up, and walked out of the cave. The old monk hurriedly followed him. At this time, Gu Fei cursed 18 generations of little monk Fanshio's ancestors. At the moment when he was swallowed by the black hole, he sensed little monk Fanshio's aura. That little bald donkey was truly worthy of being the ancestor of underhanded schemes. Gu Fei felt himself descending at a rapid speed. In this dusky land, the chilly wind howled, and black dust was constantly swept up into the sky. Here, Gu Fei felt an incomparably strong pressure, as if he was facing an invisible supreme being. Even with his cultivation, he found it hard to fly. He was like a meteorite, falling from the sky towards the pitch-black land in the west. Boom! A loud explosion sounded, the ground shook, and dust flew everywhere. The ground collapsed, and a huge pit appeared on the black land. Cracks spread out from the pit. Then, a figure shrouded in chaotic light walked out from the pit. There was not a single speck of dust on his body. What is this place? There's actually such a strong pressure here. Gu Fei was incomparably shocked. He found that his cultivation was suppressed, unable to fly, and his divine sense couldn't leave his body. He looked up and found that there wasn't even a single star in the dusky sky. Dark clouds floated in the sky, and the entire land was enveloped in a cold aura. Demonic energy. Although it was difficult for Gu Fei to release his divine sense, he could still sense the existence of demonic energy. There was actually demonic energy in this world, which meant that there was a demon here. Could this place be? Gu Fei couldn't help but be moved when he thought of a place. At this moment, a black figure charged out from the depths of the pitch-black land, directly charging towards the place where Gu Fei had fallen. It was like a black shadow flitting across the land at high speed. Very soon, the black figure arrived near where Gu Fei had fallen. It appeared on a hill and swept its gaze over Gu Fei, who was standing beside the pit. Gu Fei also noticed the existence of the humanoid creature immediately. When he saw it, he was shocked because it was a strange creature that looked like a black skeleton. 2 spots of blood-red light shot out of the creature's eyes like blood-red stars, and a powerful demonic aura enveloped the entire land. Chapter 3062. Gu Fei was tricked by the little monk Fanshio and was sealed in a dark place. In this place, Gu Fei was shocked to find that there was an extremely strong suppressive force in this place. Even someone as powerful as him could not even fly in the air. It was as if he had suddenly fallen from the quasi-supreme realm and became immortal. Not long after Gu Fei fell to the ground, he was discovered by the creatures in this place. A humanoid creature that looked like a skeleton appeared on a nearby hill. Swoosh! The creature leaped from the hill and crossed a dozen miles in an instant. Then, with a bang, it landed on the ground. With a thud, the creature landed on the ground and pushed off with its feet, causing the ground to crack. Then, it leaped up once more and pounced toward Gu Fei. In just 2 leaps, it had crossed more than 30 miles. One could imagine how powerful this creature was. It should be known that there was an extremely strong suppressive force in this place. Seeing this, Gu Fei's pupils shrank. At this moment, a strong demonic aura had already swept over. The skeleton-like creature had already pounced at him. Roar! The creature was extremely crazy. With a roar, it directly punched at Gu Fei. The bloody light that shot out of its eyes was several feet long. Gu Fei's eyes were also filled with chaotic light. He growled and also punched at the other party's fist. Boom! The two fists collided in an instant and exploded with a loud sound. The ground under Gu Fei's feet immediately shook. The entire ground undulated like waves, and a layer of dust rose. Gu Fei only felt an extremely strong force from the other party's fist, causing him to involuntarily take a step back. On the other hand, the skeleton-like creature was sent flying dozens of feet by Gu Fei's punch. Then, it flipped in the air and silently fell to the ground like a fallen leaf. People from the outside world. A voice rang out in Gu Fei's mind. The opponent's divine sense could actually leave his body. This caused Gu Fei's mind to tremble. Could it be that the opponent's divine sense was even stronger than his? However, he soon discovered that his divine sense could also leave his body. However, he could only leave his body and cover an area of about 200 to 300 feet around him. Gu Fei was indescribably astonished that his divine sense could only extend 20 to 30 feet away from his body. One had to know that he was a quasi-supreme being. Who are you? Gu Fei released his divine sense. You don't need to know who I am because you're about to die, said the skeleton-like creature. Then, a shocking murderous aura erupted from the creature. Then, the skeleton-like creature vanished into thin air. Humph! Gu Fei sneered. He took a step forward and disappeared into the void in an instant. At the same time, a silhouette appeared where Gu Fei originally stood. However, in the next second, the silhouette disappeared again at an extremely fast speed. However, very quickly, a bang was heard. The demons were thrown out of the void by Gu Fei's punch. You want to kill me? I'm afraid you don't have the right to do so, Gu Fei said in disdain. However, he had to admit that these demons were really strong to be able to block his punch. The two silhouettes moved rapidly in the void. Muffled sounds of collisions were heard continuously. Gu Fei and the creature continued to clash, attacking each other. It could be said that it was a tit for tat. The more Gu Fei fought, the more surprised he became. He never thought that the first creature he met here would be so strong that it could fight against him. One should know that he couldn't be compared to an ordinary quasi-supreme being. There was no doubt that the chaotic martial body was strong. Every time he raised his hand, he could easily tear apart the void. However, the void here was extremely stable. Even with Gu Fei's strength, he couldn't move the void here. You're not bad. Be obedient and let me devour your essence. I'll let you die a quick death. The skeleton-like demon said with a sinister smile. Such a smile would make one's heart palpitate. It should be known that this creature was a living being that was covered in a layer of human skin. Haha, don't be stupid. Who would let you kill me obediently? Gu Fei laughed out loud. He was amused by this creature. Who did this fellow think he was? A supreme being? Acting all high and mighty, as if he was the ruler of everything. Roar. Hearing this, the creature roared angrily and stretched out its hands. 10 rays of black light shot out from its skinny fingers. Each ray of black light was like a black chain that wrapped around Gu Fei. Although Gu Fei's cultivation was suppressed by this world, it didn't mean that he had lost all his abilities. Just when the 9 dark lights were about to wrap around his body, an extremely bright sword light rushed out from his body. With a flash of sword light, the 10 rays of dark light were immediately destroyed. After destroying the 10 rays of dark light, the extremely sharp sword light continued to pierce towards the creature. What? The creature was shocked. It didn't expect this human to still have such powerful combat power. One should know that once a creature from the outside world entered this place, it would be difficult for them to use their cultivation. Only those that were trapped here for countless years could gradually recover some of their abilities and combat power. No one knew how long this creature had been trapped here. It had already adapted to the environment and recovered some of its cultivation and combat power. Plang. The creature slapped the sword light with its claw and actually crushed Gu Fei's sword light. Then, it reached out its claw and grabbed at Gu Fei's head with lightning speed. Black light flickered on the black, slender, and sharp claws. Open! Gu Fei roared and pushed his hands to his sides. A ripple visible to the naked eye immediately spread out from his body, as if he was holding up a part of the world. What? The creature was instantly enveloped by the transparent ripple. It was shocked and quickly retracted its hand, wanting to retreat. However, Gu Fei didn't give it the chance. Swoosh! A sharp sword light rushed out from Gu Fei's body. With a flash of the sword light, the creature's head was sent flying. Gu Fei then reached out and grabbed the creature's head. Inner world. You actually still have an inner world. How is this possible? Chapter 3063. In the dusky world, Gu Fei opened up his inner world and directly beheaded the demonic creature with a single slash. There was no splatter of blood. The demonic creature didn't seem to have any essence blood in its body. Its flesh and blood were shriveled and tightly attached to its bones. At first glance, this fiendish Dao creature was simply a skeleton. At this moment, a powerful force of the world spread out from Gu Fei's body. It was as if a new world had been opened up around him. In this world, he was the ruler. His cultivation had also recovered, and an extremely powerful qi and blood spread out from his body. The demonic creature's head was grabbed by Gu Fei, and its primordial spirit was completely imprisoned in its head. It couldn't escape at all. Gu Fei couldn't be bothered to say anything more to the demonic creature. He directly used the godly seizing secret technique to forcibly read its soul memories. Soon, Gu Fei knew what this place was. The eternal Buddhist Lord's demon suppression ground. Gu Fei couldn't help but be moved. No wonder there was a vast and boundless force suppressing everything in this world. Even a quasi-supreme would be completely suppressed here. However, Gu Fei wasn't an ordinary quasi-supreme. He had an extreme saint weapon, opened up his inner world, and controlled a divine land. After opening up his inner world, Gu Fei's cultivation recovered. The void around him formed a world of its own, blocking the sealing force of the eternal Buddhist Lord's true demon suppression ground. All the demons and other creatures that were suppressed in this part of the world were crippled by the eternal Buddhist Lord, and their cultivation was almost half crippled. Some of the demons and creatures that had opened up their inner worlds were also destroyed. Generally speaking, if one's inner world was destroyed, they would either die or lose half of their life force. The fact that they could survive after being crippled was enough to show how extraordinary these demons and creatures were. However, this demonic creature had miscalculated. It never thought that Gu Fei wasn't defeated by the powerful Buddhist sect and suppressed here. The consequences of miscalculation are fatal. Less than an hour later, Gu Fei finally read through most of the demonic creature's memories and learned everything that had happened here. Afterwards, he exerted force in his hand, and the creature's head exploded. It turned into a bloody mist, and its soul was naturally obliterated. Interesting. Is this the demon suppression ground of the ancient Buddha? After confirming his location, Gu Fei calmed down. It seemed that there should be a lot of demons here. However, his spiritual force could only extend about 300 feet away from his body, so he couldn't sense the existence of other demons at all. Therefore, he could only use his eyes to see. Shwa. He withdrew his inner world and took a step forward. He directly leaped up from the ground, traversed dozens of miles in an instant, and landed on the ground. Bang! His feet pushed off the ground, and he soared into the sky again. In the next moment, he landed more than 10 miles away and climbed up a small hill. Then, he looked around. Under the dusky sky was an endless land. There were black mountains towering on the land, and some places were shrouded in demonic aura. There was no need to ask. The places shrouded in demonic aura were definitely where demons were entrenched. Although those demons were thrown into this place after being crippled by the Buddhist experts, no one knew how much of their cultivation had been restored after a long period of time. Gu Fei wasn't willing to provoke these guys easily. What he needed to do now was to find a way to leave this damned place. This place lacked vitality and was like a land of death. Moreover, the sky was dusky, and the entire place was enveloped by an extremely powerful suppressive force. This made Gu Fei very unhappy. Although he wasn't afraid of this suppressive force, it was very troublesome to walk in such a place. To him, losing the use of his spiritual force was like losing a pair of eyes. At this moment, he suddenly noticed a black figure walking out of a valley hundreds of miles away. Two blood-colored lights lit up in the dusky sky. Gu Fei didn't hide because that was where he wanted to go. It was a devil valley with an incomparably powerful demon entrenched within. From the soul memories of that demon, Gu Fei knew the origin of the owner of the Devil Valley. It was an incomparably powerful demon lord. At this moment, one of the demon lord's subordinates walked out of the Devil Valley. Very soon, that demon lord's subordinate discovered Gu Fei's existence. The two blood-colored lights instantly became even brighter. It was also a skinny humanoid Devil Dao creature, and it did not seem to be any different from the Devil Dao creature that Gu Fei had killed earlier. In this devil suppression ground of the ancient Buddhist sect, there was no essence energy for the living beings here to absorb. Therefore, all the living beings here locked their essence energy within their bodies, not letting it leak out. In fact, Gu Fei had learned from the soul memories of the humanoid fiendish Dao living being that the living beings sealed here survived by devouring the essence of other living beings. This was a cruel law of survival. If one didn't want to die, then they had to hunt other living beings. Only through this method could they replenish their exhausted essence energy and continue living. This was also the reason why the living beings sealed here were all skinny. That demon directly rushed towards the hill that Gu Fei was at. It was extremely fast, like a black shadow sweeping across the land, and soon arrived at the bottom of the hill. Human. That demon came closer and sensed the powerful life force on Gu Fei's body. It couldn't help but be overjoyed. It directly leaped up from the bottom of the hill and pounced towards Gu Fei. This demon didn't care how Gu Fei appeared here. It was like a starving beast that saw a big piece of fresh meat. It couldn't wait to devour Gu Fei. "You want to eat me?" Gu Fei laughed. The demonic creature that was pouncing at him had actually opened its bloody mouth and was about to chomp down on him. He made a 360-degree turn, and his right foot kicked towards the head of the demonic cultivator like a divine whip. Bang! Crack! The sound of impact and bones breaking rang out at the same time. Gu Fei's foot had landed on the left side of the demon's head, and half of the demon's head immediately caved in. The violent impact sent the demon flying to the side. With a bang, it smashed heavily into the ground, then slid on the ground for dozens of feet before coming to a stop. Chapter 3064. Even though the living being of the demonic path within the Devil's Valley was extremely strong, it still met with Gu Fei, and thus met with a tragedy. Bam! Gotcha! Gu Fei did a 360-degree roundhouse kick. His right leg was like a divine whip as it landed on the left side of the living being's face. Half of the living being's skull was instantly shattered, and the entire left side of his face caved in as he was sent flying several tens of feet away. After smashing into the ground, he slid for several tens of feet before coming to a stop. "Want to eat me? Your daddy here isn't that delicious." Gu Fei looked at the living being of the demonic path and said calmly, "How could this be?" The living being of the demonic path was indescribably shocked. To think that this human still possessed such a formidable battle prowess. It was as though this human wasn't suppressed by the heavens and earth at all. The living being of the demonic path was filled with disbelief. One had to know that any living being that was tossed in here by the powerful beings of the Buddhist sects were all fellows that had been ruthlessly taught a lesson by the powerful beings of the Buddhist sections. If one were to come across a fellow like this, they would usually be able to subdue them with a single move and devour their essence, spirit, and soul cleanly. However, in recent years, there were very few people that were tossed in here by the people of the Buddhist sections. It wasn't easy for him to finally meet one, and it turned out to be a vicious character. This caused the living being of the demonic path to be extremely depressed. "You're not injured?" The living being of the demonic path was extremely shocked as he stared at Gu Fei with a pair of bloodshot eyes. "Am I supposed to be injured?" Gu Fei said in amusement. "Weren't you tossed in here by those bald donkeys of the Buddhist sects?" The living being of the demonic path replied. At this moment, the bones on the left side of his head were rapidly mending as flesh and blood regrew. Before long, the head of the living being that was nearly smashed apart by Gu Fei had completely recovered. However, The living being of the demonic path was extremely angry. That was because repairing the damage to his head required a certain amount of essence chi, and that essence chi was incomparably precious. One had to know that there was no heaven and earth spiritual chi in the land of demon suppression of the ancient Buddhist masters. The living beings sealed here could not absorb any heaven and earth spiritual chi to replenish their yuan chi. In other words, after all the living beings in this land of devil suppression exhausted their own vitality, it would be difficult for them to obtain replenishment from the outside world. So these living beings would become weaker and weaker, and in the end, they would be exhausted to death by this world. Haha. Gu Fei smiled. How could those guys from the Buddhist sects throw him here? He had only been tricked by Fanxiu. Otherwise, Fanxiu wouldn't have sent him here. All right, take me to your master, Gu Fei said to the devil cultivator. This fellow wasn't his opponent at all. He could kill this fellow at any time. However, he couldn't take the existence behind this fellow lightly. The master of the Devil Valley was an ancient devil, an incomparably ancient devil. From the memories of the devil spirit he had read, he knew that this ancient devil was sealed here by a Buddhist lord throughout the ages. This was an ancient devil from the same era as the ancient Buddhist masters. He was definitely an ancient being. Even after being sealed for so many years, this ancient devil was still alive and kicking. This made Gu Fei curious. Just what sort of methods did this ancient devil use to survive till now? What? You actually know of the existence of my master? The moment the devil cultivator heard this, he was indescribably shocked. Why? Aren't you going to lead the way? Gu Fei's tone turned cold as a chilling killing intent emanated from his body. You? The devil cultivator knew that if he didn't bring this man to his master, this man would definitely kill him without hesitation. Helpless, the devil cultivator could only lead the way and head towards the demon valley. This human was extremely strong. Most probably, only his master would be able to subdue this human. Even though the devil cultivator was helpless, he was secretly relieved in his heart. This human was dead for sure. After all, the master of the demon valley wasn't someone to be trifled with. Very soon, two figures appeared at the entrance of the demon valley. The demon valley was shrouded in a demonic aura as a chilling aura of the demon Tao gushed out from within. It was as though a bunch of demons were dancing within the valley. From time to time, there would be demonic figures appearing within the demonic aura. The devil cultivator brought Gu Fei straight into the valley. The valley was extremely silent, without any sound. There were no other living beings of the demon Tao in sight. However, the ground of the valley was littered with countless bones. In the depths of the valley, there was a mountain of bones. At the peak of the mountain, there was a stone coffin. That wasn't an ordinary stone coffin. There were streams of demonic aura shrouding the surface of the stone coffin. An incomparably strong demonic energy was gushing out from the stone coffin. The devil cultivator brought Gu Fei to the front of the mountain of bones. The devil cultivator immediately knelt down and prostrated on the ground, not daring to raise his head. Swoosh! Gu Fei chuckled. His hands continued to form hand seals. Rays of dazzling sword light rushed out from his hands and slashed towards the stone coffin on the mountain of bones. However, just as the sword light that Gu Fei shot out was about to hit the stone coffin on the peak of the mountain of bones, a layer of demonic light suddenly appeared on the stone coffin. The sword light that Gu Fei shot out was actually blocked when it came into contact with the layer of demonic light that appeared on the stone coffin. Oomph! Gu Fei pushed off the ground with both feet and directly charged towards the stone coffin on the mountain of bones. An extremely powerful aura erupted from his body. He had an inner world, so he was not afraid of the suppression of this world. He attacked with all his strength and directly struck out with the sky-covering hand. The huge palm enveloped the entire world. Boom! At this moment, there was a loud sound. The lid of the stone coffin suddenly flew up and crashed towards Gu Fei. At the same time, a black figure rushed out from the stone coffin. A terrifying demonic aura appeared in the world. It was as if a supreme demon ancestor had rushed out of the stone coffin. Buzz! With the sound of a sword, the black figure directly used a killing technique. A ray of sword light that was filled with demonic aura suddenly appeared and pierced towards Gu Fei at an extremely fast speed. However, Gu Fei's sky-covering hand still slammed downwards and enveloped the demonic figure. A martial ancestor's battle technique? The demonic figure that was enveloped by Gu Fei's sky-covering hand suddenly said. Hearing this, Gu Fei was shocked. This old demon actually recognized his battle technique. Could it be that this old demon recognized a martial ancestor? At this moment, a powerful demonic energy exploded from the demonic figure's body. Chapter 3073, Battle Against Ancient Demons. Chapter 3065. The ancient devil's appearance was earth-shattering. The entire valley was shrouded in demonic energy. The sky darkened as if night had fallen. A terrifying demonic aura erupted from the ancient devil's body. At this moment, Gu Fei struck out with his heaven-covering palm towards the demonic shadow. The huge chaos palm instantly shrouded the entire sky above the valley. Rumble. Endless chaotic force descended from the hand in the sky, shaking up the surrounding space. Several bone mountains in the valley immediately collapsed, sending bone dust into the air. Inside those bone mountains, there were actually several stone coffins. Obviously, there were also experts of the devil race sleeping in those ancient coffins. However, despite the violent impact, the stone coffins didn't move. There was no demonic energy lingering on them either. The martial ancestor's successor? The elder devil was startled. Then, he cast a spell. A mirror appeared above his head. It shined with an endless amount of light and shined down on the chaos demon hand that was coming down from the sky. This was an extremely powerful demon weapon. The demon mirror above the ancient devil's head seemed to have turned into a demon Sunday. Ancient demonic runes crisscrossed on its surface. Rumble. The demonic light from the magic mirror shone on the huge hand of chaos descending from the sky. Two supreme powers clashed, the chaotic force and the demonic force surging violently. The space around the chaos hand and the demonic light created ripples that could be seen with the naked eye. This part of the world that was sealed by the power of the ancient Buddhist masters was extremely stable. Even an expert of Gu Fei's level would find it difficult to break it. This was the place where the ancient Buddhist masters suppressed the demons. If it was so easy to break the void of the world here, then wouldn't it be very easy for the living beings sealed here to escape? You're not injured at all? How is that possible? The ancient devil exclaimed in shock. He could sense that Gu Fei wasn't injured. How could a being that was sealed by the Buddhist sect be unharmed? Back when the ancient Buddha had sealed him here, he was on the verge of death. He cultivated for countless years, but still couldn't recover to his peak. Are you surprised? Do you think the Buddhists can hurt me? Gu Fei used all his strength to activate the heaven-encompassing hand. The chaos hand in the sky was like a primordial chaos divine mountain, slowly descending. At this time, the demonic mirror above the elder devil's head began to vibrate. Countless primordial demonic runes emerged, intertwining to form a demonic diagram that released the most powerful demonic energy. However, even with the ancient devil's full power, the chaos hand in the sky was still slowly descending. The devilish light that seemed capable of melting everything in the world couldn't stop the chaos hand from descending. Ancient devil was shocked. He knew that even if he was at his peak, he would only be able to fight this human to a standstill. However, his injuries from back then hadn't healed yet. Even if he had a demon weapon, he wouldn't be a match for this human. Rumble. The chaos hand continued to descend, shaking the earth and sky. The Devil Valley was in chaos. Bone dust filled the air, but the stone coffins still didn't move. The ancient devil's underling was terrified. At this moment, he finally realized how strong and terrifying this human was. Even his master wasn't a match for this human. Gu Fei was extremely strong. The heaven-encompassing hand was extremely powerful, suppressing the ancient devil. The Devil Valley was collapsing. The earth was cracking. It was like the end of the world. A building that should have been buried underground was revealed. Gu Fei's heart trembled. The reason why he wanted to attack this Devil Valley was because of this building. That was a sacrificial altar filled with devilish qi. From the soul memory of the Devil Dao creature he searched, he learned that the master of this Devil Valley was planning something earth-shattering. The ancient devil was too powerful, and he had lived for far too long. He had many unimaginable methods, and he wanted to escape from this place where the ancient Buddha had been suppressing the devil. So, the moment the ancient devil was sealed here, he had been planning how to escape. It had to be said that this ancient devil was truly amazing. He actually managed to come up with a way to escape from this world. But there was nothing there. The ancient devil had been preparing for countless years, and even now, the altar that was buried underground was only a rough outline. At this speed, the ancient devil didn't know when the altar would be finished. Stop! The ancient devil saw the altar reveal itself, and he was very nervous. He had spent a lot of effort to build this altar. If it was destroyed, all his efforts would be for nothing. The ancient devil was going all out. The demon mirror above his head began to shine brightly. Many of the most primitive symbols came out of the mirror and formed an ancient diagram. It went to destroy the chaotic hand that was coming down from the sky. The primordial demon diagram displayed a terrifying might and actually blocked the mighty martial arts power that came crashing down from the primal chaos hand. The primal chaos light was directly obliterated by the demon diagram. Are you going all out? Haha. Gu Fei laughed. He formed a seal with his hands, and a cauldron appeared in the sky. It came crashing down. The cauldron had the power to suppress mountains and rivers. He was using the cauldron of mountain and river to attack. Although he wasn't actually using it, the power of the cauldron was still very strong. The moment the ancient cauldron conjured by Gu Fei pressed down, the chaotic hand disappeared into the void. Boom! There was a loud noise as the cauldron came down from the sky. It collided with the demonic diagram. The martial power and the demonic power exploded again. The vast power directly destroyed the entire Devil's Valley. Even the incomparably heavy stone coffins were swept away and disappeared without a trace. The altar underneath the Devil's Valley was shaking. It looked as if it could collapse at any moment. This made the ancient devil very nervous. He couldn't let the plan he had prepared for so many years be destroyed like this. At this moment, in the sky, the ancient cauldron that Gu Fei had conjured blocked the terrifying demonic diagram that had rushed out from the demonic mirror. The two forces were locked in a stalemate, and for a moment, neither could suppress the other. It was clear who was stronger. Gu Fei hadn't used a Dao weapon, but the ancient devil was using a demonic weapon. The ancient devil was using a demonic weapon, but he could only fight Gu Fei to a standstill. If he didn't use a demonic weapon, he would have been defeated. Boom! Boom! The ancient cauldron that Gu Fei had conjured continued to press down from the sky. The vast and mighty spiritual energy fluctuations it emitted were so powerful that even the demonic pattern that had rushed out from the demonic mirror could not withstand the ancient cauldron. Stop! Stop! If you want to leave this damned place, you'd better stop. The ancient devil was panicking. If the cauldron continued to come down, the altar would be destroyed. If that happened, he would never be able to leave this place. He would be trapped here until he died. Humph! Gu Fei sneered. The cauldron that was emitting endless chaotic energy stopped. However, it still exploded with extremely strong chaotic energy. The ancient devil heaved a sigh of relief. If you and I join hands, we might be able to leave this damned place. The ancient devil said, I'll join hands with you. Hearing this, Gu Fei's eyes lit up. The reason why he attacked this Devil Valley was so that he could leave this devil suppression ground of the ancient Buddhist master. Joining hands with the ancient devil wasn't a bad thing. All right, Gu Fei thought about it and nodded. The ancient devil wasn't a match for him. The ancient devil wouldn't dare try anything funny in front of him. Very well, then let's stop together, the ancient devil said. Then, Gu Fei and the ancient devil withdrew their powers. The chaotic ancient cauldron dissipated into the void, and the demon diagram that was blocking the chaotic ancient cauldron also flew back into the demon mirror. Gu Fei descended from the sky. At this time, the elder devil waved his hand and the altar rose from the ground and floated in the air. It was only at this moment that Gu Fei realized that this was actually an altar made of demon bones. Every demon bone had demon runes vaguely appearing on it, and they contained a shocking demonic aura. Only beings above the saint rank could fuse with the Tao and imprint the Tao runes into their bones. Who knew how many demon bones had been used to build this altar? These were the remains of demons above the saint rank. One could only imagine how many demons had been killed by the ancient devil, and their bones had been used to build this altar. You're a cruel and merciless person. Gu Fei glanced at the ancient devil and said, Humph, this is nothing. I'm willing to use my own bones to build this altar so that I can leave this damned place. The ancient devil stared at Gu Fei. This altar can help us leave this place, Gu Fei said. He continued to look at the altar. The demonic runes on the altar were ancient. Could these be the legendary primordial demonic runes? Primordial demonic runes were the oldest kind of demonic runes. Only the oldest demons could master them. Could it be that this demon was one of the oldest demons in the world? Chapter 3066. The mysterious altar floated in the void. It was an altar made entirely out of demon bones. Every piece of demon bone had a faint demonic mark on it. The demonic patterns on the demon bones seemed to be formed naturally and were imprinted on the inside of the demon bones. Every demon bone emitted an incomparably powerful demonic aura. This altar is a teleportation array? Gu Fei asked the ancient devil as he looked at the altar. Yes, it is a teleportation array. Ancient devil didn't hide anything, but the altar he was building was different. It was made of demon bones. Of course, the altar wasn't finished yet. It was only a rough outline of what it would look like. Some of the more important parts hadn't been completed yet. The ancient Buddha's demon suppression ground didn't have many useful things to use. The ancient devil wanted to kill the other demons and use their bones to build an altar. However, the demons weren't vegetarians. There were even some demons whose cultivation and battle prowess surpassed the ancient devil. The demons that had been sealed here by the ancient Buddha were not ordinary. They were either the ancestors of the demons or the ancient devil of the demons. However, one had to admit that this ancient devil was truly amazing. He had killed many leaders of the demonic path in order to build this altar. Your altar is only a half-finished product. Gu Fei quickly discovered the truth of the altar. The general shape of the altar was complete, but the most important parts were missing. Yes, but if you and I work together, we can quickly finish it and leave this place, the ancient devil said. What do you mean by that? Gu Fei said in a playful tone. Because I know where to build the altar. If you and I work together, we can get it. The ancient devil said confidently. Really? Tell me. Gu Fei said. There's an ancestral demon dragon residing in a demonic mountain 1,000 miles away from here. I need its dragon bones and that demonic dragon pearl. The ancient devil said. What? Gu Fei could not help but be moved when he heard this. There was actually an ancestral demon dragon trapped here. The ancestral demon dragon was definitely in existence, so powerful that even the sages were afraid of it. It was actually sealed in the ancient demon lord's demon suppression land. This ancient demon actually had his eyes on such an existence. Without help, I'm no match for that ancestral demon dragon, but if I join forces with you, we can kill it. The elder demon dragon was very powerful. Whether it was the dragon bone or the demon dragon orb, they were both necessary for the altar. If he could obtain them, he could build the altar in a short amount of time. The day the altar was completed was the day he would escape from this place. In truth, Ancient Devil wanted to leave even more than Gu Fei did. He knew that if he continued to waste time here, he would end up dead. No creature wanted to die. Ancient Devil didn't want to die. He did everything he could to build this altar. He wanted to escape with his life. Haha, good. Then let's go hunt dragons. Gu Fei laughed heartily. At this time, the Ancient Devil was very excited. If he could successfully kill the ancestral demon dragon and obtain the dragon bones and the demon dragon pearl, it would be a great thing for him. He had been eyeing the ancestral demon dragon for a long time now, but the ancestral demon dragon's power and strength were above Ancient Devil's. Even if Ancient Devil wanted to kill it, he couldn't find a way to do so. But this time, it was different. The strength of this human was undeniable. The Ancient Devil knew that this human could compete with the ancestral demon dragon. In fact, Ancient Devil wanted to see Gu Fei, and the ancestral demon dragon fight. It would be best if both of them were injured. Then, he could reap the rewards. Ancient Devil quickly led the way, and the two of them moved quickly across the dark ground. They were like two bolts of black lightning that flew across the land. In the blink of an eye, they had left Ancient Devil's subordinate behind. Very soon, Gu Fei noticed that a large mountain had appeared in front of him. It was a large mountain shrouded in demonic aura, and a terrifying demonic aura was spreading from it. Swoosh! At this moment, two spots of red light appeared on the Devil Mountain in front of them. That is, when Gu Fei saw this, he couldn't help but be startled. The two blood-colored lights on the mountain ahead were actually two huge blood-colored eyes. After that, he saw the ancestral demon dragon. A skinny dragon was coiled around the peak of the mountain. Its head was as big as a hill, and its body was coiled around the mountain. It was hard to imagine that the ancestral demon dragon was a giant dragon. Gu Fei, an ancient devil, didn't slow down. They continued on their way to the mountain. Soon, they arrived at the foot of the mountain. Swoosh! Just as Gu Fei and the rest arrived at the foot of the mountain, several streaks of black light shot up from the ground and pierced through them. This all happened so suddenly that even Gu Fei was shocked. Then, a layer of chaotic light emerged from his body. Two black shadows slammed into his chaotic light and bounced off. They fell to the ground. Gu Fei was taken aback when he took a closer look. It turned out that the black shadows that were shooting towards them from the ground were actually black snakes with sinister heads. The black snakes immediately leapt up from the ground and charged towards Gu Fei and the rest. Swoosh! There was a flash of light. The black snakes that had come for Gu Fei were cut in half. They fell to the ground and struggled for a long time before dying. Roar! At this time, an earth-shattering roar came from the peak of the mountain. The giant ancestral demon dragon was furious. It opened its mouth and spat out a jet of black demonic fire. The demonic fire swept down the mountain. Everywhere it passed, even the void was burned. Visible ripples appeared. Of course, this was a demon-suppressing land created by the ancient Buddhist Lord. The void was extremely stable. It had been refined by the ancient Buddhist Lord. No one could break the void here. At this moment, the pitch-black demonic fire had already burned down from the mountain. A layer of chaotic divine light immediately appeared on Gu Fei's body, blocking the demonic fire that was sweeping towards him. The ancient devil, on the other hand, soared into the sky and dodged the endless black flames that swept down from the sky. You again! A wave of wool spread from the peak of the mountain. Then, the ancestral demon dragon stretched out a bony dragon claw towards the ancient devil. At the same time, a magic mirror rushed out of the ancient devil's body. It shone with a dazzling demonic light and shone towards the dragon claw. However, the ancestral demon dragon was extremely strong. It used its dragon claw to resist the power of the magic mirror. Powerful waves of energy erupted from the dragon claw. At this time, Gu Fei walked up the mountain step by step. He seemed slow, but in reality, he was extremely fast. The ancestral demon dragon had noticed Gu Fei long ago. It was curious to see a human here. How was this possible? Did this human come from the outside world? At the thought of this, the ancestral demon dragon's eyes lit up, and the blood-colored demonic radiance in its eyes became even more intense. Swoosh! At this time, a cold light suddenly rushed out from Gu Fei's hand. It turned into a peerless sword light and slashed at the ancestral demon dragon. However, the ancestral demon dragon stretched out its other claw and grabbed at Gu Fei's sword light. The sword light shattered under the dragon's claw. Although the ancestral demon dragon looked like a bag of bones, its combat power was still extremely strong. It could not be underestimated. Gu Fei and the ancient devil worked together to fight the dragon on the mountain. Terrifying waves of energy spread in all directions. Boom! Gu Fei punched out, but he wasn't aiming at the ancestral devil dragon. Instead, his punch landed on the mountain. In the next instant, the mountain crumbled, and dust rose high into the sky. It was as if doomsday had arrived. Roar! The dragon roared. The ancestral demon dragon could no longer sit still. It rushed up to the sky and fought fiercely with Gu Fei and the ancient devil. The demonic mirror burst with a powerful demonic light. Even the ancestral demon dragon's body emitted black smoke when it was illuminated by the demonic light. Gu Fei, on the other hand, was incomparably powerful. His fist momentum was unstoppable. As he punched out, the entire void trembled. The chaotic divine light that erupted from his fist was extremely bright. Boom! Bang! Gu Fei's fist kept colliding with the dragon's claw. The dragon was forced to retreat. The power of the Fist of Chaos was so strong that the ancestral demon dragon's heart trembled. The martial ancestor's heir. The ancestral demon dragon was shocked. The human's combat skill was a martial combat skill. "I'm done playing with you," Gu Fei shouted, and used the secret skill of ascension. His body swayed and became as huge as a mountain. He grabbed the ancestral demon dragon with one hand and pulled his hands apart. Crack! The ancestral demon dragon's body was torn in half. What? Seeing this, the elder devil was indescribably shocked. Gu Fei's battle prowess was too frightening. He had actually torn the ancestral demon dragon's body in half. It should be known that this was no ordinary demon dragon. It was an ancestral demon dragon. Roar! The ancestral demon dragon roared, but it was to no avail. A beam of sword light shot out from between Gu Fei's eyebrows and directly destroyed the ancestral demon dragon's Yuan Shan. This was one of the 9 secrets of the immortal path. It was a killing technique of the Yuan Shan path. This killing technique specialized in destroying Yuan Shan. The ancestral demon dragon died instantly. Chapter 3067. Gu Fei had displayed an invincible battle prowess and directly killed the ancestral demon dragon. This shocked the ancient demon sparrow. The ancient demon sparrow was a giant of the demonic path who had once fought against the Buddhist lord. In those turbulent times, countless creatures had died in his hands. But now, this once mighty ancient devil felt his heart turn cold. This man was too strong. In front of this human, he didn't even have the strength to resist. Rumble! The huge dragon corpse fell from the sky. When the dragon corpse, which was as large as a mountain, fell to the ground, it caused the ground to collapse and dust to rise into the sky. Gu Fei had destroyed the ancestral demon dragon's primordial spirit with the primordial spirit Dao sword killing technique. Therefore, the ancestral demon dragon's demonic essence was not lost. He shattered the ancestral demon dragon's skull with his palm and took out the demon dragon pearl, which was more than 10 feet wide, from its skull. It was a pitch-black demon pearl. The demon pearl shone with a dazzling black light. It was like a black sun that appeared between the heavens and the earth. Pure demonic chi lingered on it. Rumble! There was a faint sound of thunder in the sky. The demonic bead contained an extremely powerful demonic essence. This was what the ancient demon sparrow needed. The altar needed this to suppress the core of the demonic formation. The ancestral demon dragon's demonic bone was perfect for the construction of the altar. With the ancestral demon dragon's demonic bone, the ancient demon sparrow's altar could be completed. Haha! The ancient demon sparrow laughed. He had been planning to kill the ancestral demon dragon for a long time. However, the ancestral demon dragon was extremely powerful, and he was no match for it. He even almost died at the hands of the ancestral demon dragon once. This made the ancient demon sparrow extremely cautious. If he was not completely confident, he would not provoke the ancestral demon dragon. However, this ancestral demon dragon was killed by Gu Fei in just a few moves. This was the difference between them. This human named Gu Fei's cultivation base was definitely comparable to his when he was at his peak. Ancient Devil Sparrow, on the other hand, hated Ancient Buddha to the core. If Ancient Buddha hadn't destroyed its inner world and beaten it half to death, it wouldn't be in such a sorry state. Alright, now that you have everything you need, you should hurry up and complete that altar, Gu Fei said. At this moment, the extremely powerful aura on his body retreated like the tide and quickly disappeared into his body. What? The ancient demon sparrow sensed the change in Gu Fei's body and was shocked once more. This human was incredible to be able to hide his cultivation so well. This made the ancient demon sparrow even more afraid of Gu Fei. Just like the ancient demon sparrow, they struggled to survive in this world that lacked vitality. Of course, these demons that could survive until now were the strongest. Some of them, even the ancient demon Sparrow, didn't dare to provoke. Among these ancient demons, there were existences that were much stronger than the ancestral demon dragon. Among the demons, the innate demon ancestor was also sealed in this part of the world. The innate demon ancestor was the most ancient demon ancestor born from the chaos. It was synonymous with strength. When Gu Fei arrived at an abyss, he was instantly shrouded by a wave of divine sense. An incomparably strong demonic energy rushed out from the abyss. Descendant of the martial ancestor, come and die. These words rang in Gu Fei's mind. His tone was filled with palpitating killing intent. Then, a clang sound came from the abyss. It seemed like something was being chained down and was struggling to get out. This, Gu Fei, who was standing beside the abyss, was extremely shocked. It must be pointed out that the spirit of the demonic creature imprisoned at the bottom of the abyss could actually probe out of the abyss and was not suppressed by this world. Moreover, the demon in the abyss could recognize that he was the descendant of the martial ancestor and wanted to kill him. Gu Fei knew that the demon imprisoned at the bottom of the abyss definitely had a grudge against the martial ancestor and was sealed by the ancient Buddhist lord in this abyss. Little guy, come down and die. The sound of iron chains colliding was heard again. The demon in the abyss was unable to get out. It was unknown how long this demon had been imprisoned here. Haha, Gu Fei laughed when he heard this. What are you laughing at? The demon in the abyss was enraged. Don't you know what I'm laughing at? You want yours truly to go down and be killed by you? Are you stupid, or am I stupid? Gu Fei said in disdain. Come up and fight me if you've got the guts. Yours truly is waiting for you right here. Gu Fei continued. Little guy, you're so brazen. The demon in the abyss snarled. All right, you can just slowly endure down there. Yours truly won't be accompanying you anymore. Gu Fei said and turned around to leave. He had no time for this guy. Little guy, come back. I promise that I won't whack you to death. The demon in the abyss cried out. How many years had it been since it had seen a living being? Now that it had finally met a human, it naturally wanted to keep this human here. Gu Fei did not bother with the guy in the abyss any longer as he left. At the bottom of the abyss, an extremely powerful demonic aura surged out. The entire abyss was trembling as though it could collapse at any moment. Roar! The demon in the abyss roared out. By now, Gu Fei had already walked far away. However, when he heard that roar, he could not help but feel his heart skip a beat. One had to know that this demon that was trapped at the bottom of the abyss was no small fry. If such a demon were to be allowed to come out into the world, the consequences would be unimaginable. Gu Fei continued walking on this piece of land. However, he could not discover anything. This world was huge. However, it was a cage of the heaven and earth. Just as Gu Fei arrived at the bottom of a stone mountain, he discovered that there was a temple that was constructed out of stone. This was something that had him stumped. The stone mountain wasn't too tall. Lin Fan walked up it directly. When he arrived before the ancient temple, he could sense a weak, demonic aura. Instantly, Gu Fei raised his guard. One must know that any living being that could be trapped in this cage of the heaven and earth was definitely not someone to be trifled with. He looked into the stone temple. To think that there would be a yellow praying mat within. That demonic aura was emanating from that yellow praying mat. Just as Gu Fei was in a state of shock, a demonic aura appeared behind him all of a sudden. Shing! Gu Fei spun around furiously. However, he did not know when, but he saw a skinny old monk standing quietly not too far behind him. Within the eyes of this old monk, there were streaks of blood light that shone faintly. To think that his body would be shrouded with a strange demonic aura, a monk that has entered the demonic path. Gu Fei could not help but be shocked. This was a Buddha demon, an extremely powerful Buddha demon. Just who in the world was this Buddha demon that was sealed here by the Buddha Lord? He was extremely shocked. Chapter 3068. The sudden appearance of a Buddha demon shocked Gu Fei. One should know that it was rare for an arhat to turn into a demon. After all, Buddhas and demons were mortal enemies. Gu Fei did not know the reason why the Arhat turned into a demon, but he knew that the Buddha demon was extremely powerful. At this moment, the Buddha demon opposite Gu Fei was staring at him. There was a demonic light shining in his blood-red eyes. It was a demonic aura that wasn't strong, but it made one's heart palpitate. Arhat turned into a demon. Gu Fei probed. Arhat. The Buddha demon's blood-red eyes narrowed, as though he was displeased to hear this form of address. Not Arhat. Gu Fei couldn't help but be shocked. If it wasn't Arhat, then what was it? Could it be the ancient Buddha? That didn't seem possible. However, the Buddhist demon's words left him in utter shock. Buddha is me, and I am Buddha. The Buddha demon said calmly. What did you say? Gu Fei was shocked. He knew what the words meant. This wasn't a state where Buddha and I were coexisting, but he was Buddha. In other words, he was the ancient Buddha. I am Buddha, the skinny old monk said. If you are Buddha, then what is the ancient Buddha? Gu Fei said coldly. The words of the old Buddha demon were too shocking. That fella severed his demonic nature, leaving only his Buddha nature. The words of the old Buddha demon shocked him to death. You. Gu Fei's voice trembled a little. This old monk actually had the demonic side of the ancient Buddha Lord. This was simply equivalent to the ancient Buddha Lord. The Buddhist Lord's strength was undeniable. He created the Buddhist path's cultivation technique all by himself and became the extreme Tao Buddhist Lord because of it. The ancient Buddha was one of the strongest existences in history. This old monk was actually the demonic side of the ancient Buddha Lord. This shocked Gu Fei to the extreme. This Buddha devil was definitely powerful to an unimaginable degree. To think that even the successor of the martial ancestor would be sealed in here. How is this possible? That Buddha devil immediately saw through Gu Fei's background. He was extremely shocked. One must know that he was the devil side of the ancient Buddha Lord. From a certain perspective, he was the ancient Buddha Lord. The old monk knew that the Buddhist Lord wouldn't attack the successor of the martial progenitor. I wasn't sealed here by the eternal Buddha Lord. Gu Fei sighed. He was tricked by that little monk Fan Xiao, which was why he was sealed in the devil suppression grounds of the ancient Buddhist Lord. However, what Gu Fei didn't expect was that the Buddhist Lord had also sealed his demonic side here. I see. The Buddha devil said, Senior, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Gu Fei cupped his fists at the Buddha devil and was about to leave. However, right at this moment, a chilling aura instantly enveloped Gu Fei, causing him to be taken aback. To think that this Buddha demon had locked onto him. Senior, what are you? Even though Gu Fei was shocked, he remained calm on the surface and didn't show anything. It's been a long time since I've spoken to anyone. Stay and accompany me. The Buddha devil looked at Gu Fei calmly and said, What? Gu Fei couldn't help but change his expression. What? You're not willing? Two beams of blood-red light shot out from the Buddha demon's eyes, and a powerful demonic aura immediately erupted from his body. Do you think I'm willing? Gu Fei stared at the Buddha devil and said coldly, It seems like you have no choice but to agree. The Buddha devil still had a calm expression. Say it if you want to fight. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Gu Fei had completely fallen out with the Buddha devil. He was actually not afraid of this Buddha devil. One must know that he was currently a quasi-supreme. Since that's the case, I'll capture you and refine you into a demon pet, the Buddha devil said. Haha, Gu Fei laughed out loud. If this fellow was the real Buddhist Lord, he might have some reservations. However, this fellow was merely the demonic side of the Buddhist Lord. Even if this fellow was the demonic side that the Buddhist Lord had severed, he was definitely not an existence of the extreme Tao. What are you laughing at? The Buddha devil said as his eyes shot out rays of blood-colored radiance. I'm laughing at your idiot, Gu Fei said as he threw a punch at the Buddha devil. An extremely powerful chaotic fist force immediately erupted from his fist. However, the Buddhist demon's hands danced in front of him, and a black swastika appeared in front of him. As the swastika rotated, a powerful devouring force immediately surged out from the swastika and sucked in Gu Fei's fist. This Buddha devil was actually devouring Gu Fei's essence. My essence isn't that easy to devour. Gu Fei suddenly sneered. Then, He shook his arm, and an even more powerful force erupted from his fist. The black 10,000 Buddhist seal immediately crumbled. Bang! Gu Fei's fist landed squarely on the Buddha devil's chest. The Buddha devil was sent flying and fell down the mountain. Seeing this, Gu Fei was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe that the demonic side of the ancient Buddha Lord was so weak. However, at the next moment, a demonic figure rushed up from the foot of the mountain. The Buddha devil didn't seem to be affected at all and attacked Gu Fei again. He stretched out his hand, and a pitch-black hand immediately appeared in the void, grabbing at Gu Fei. Streams of demonic chi fell from the hand, dancing like demonic dragons. Oomph! Gu Fei directly slapped his palm upwards and unleashed the heaven-covering palm. A huge chaotic palm rose into the sky and collided with the Buddha demon's demonic hand. Rumble! Two incomparably powerful forces collided with each other. It was terrifying to the extreme. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in the entire void. The ripples spread out in all directions like waves of water. Gu Fei's chaotic hand and the Buddha devil's demonic hand dissipated in the void at the same time. The two figures moved rapidly in the void, breaking through the suppression of the heaven and earth, and could fight in the void for a short period of time. Powerful waves spread out in all directions, alarming many demonic beings. Some demonic beings were inexplicably shocked. There was actually someone who dared to provoke the Buddha devil in the stone temple. Wasn't that person tired of living? Many demonic beings knew about the origin of the Buddha devil and were very wary of it. No demonic beings would be so blind as to provoke the Buddha devil. Chapter 3069. You want to devour my essence? Watch as I dissolve your demonic essence. With a roar, Gu Fei immediately used one of the 9 secrets of immortal Tao, the secret art of none. The power of the secret art of none emanated from Gu Fei's body. In that instant, the Buddhist demon sensed that he could no longer devour Gu Fei's essence. What? The Buddhist demon was utterly shocked. How did the successor of the martial ancestor grasp a secret art of immortal Tao? He recognized the secret art Gu Fei was using at a glance. Only a secret art created by a sovereign like the 9 secrets of immortal Tao could possess such power. At this moment, the power of the secret word Wu erupted from Gu Fei's body and instantly enveloped the ancient Buddhist devil. The devil chi on the ancient Buddha demon was quickly dispelled by the power of the secret word Wu and disappeared in the void. This time, the tables had turned. The essence of the ancient Buddha demon began to dissipate quickly. Seal. The ancient Buddhist demon directly performed a hand seal, and a huge black wand Buddhist seal immediately appeared above his head. Demonic chi fell from the wand Buddhist seal, enveloping the ancient Buddhist demon. However, he soon discovered that the demonic chi in his body was still flowing away. However, the speed at which the demonic chi was flowing away was much slower. What? The Buddhist demon was shocked. The successor of the martial ancestor was truly powerful. Whoosh! At this moment, black Buddhist runes appeared on the body of the ancient Buddhist demon. The void trembled, and in the next moment, the demon disappeared into the void. Gu Fei was taken aback. An extremely powerful divine thought immediately rushed out from between his eyebrows and instantly enveloped the surrounding area. However, a huge opening appeared behind Gu Fei. A figure walked out of the void and slammed a palm onto Gu Fei's back. The palm was so fast that not even someone of Gu Fei's cultivation could evade it. Bang! With a muffled sound, Gu Fei's entire body immediately flew forward and landed on the ground. He staggered and almost fell to the ground. However, very quickly, Gu Fei returned to his peak condition. His blood and essence chi were exuberant, and it was difficult for his essence chi to leak out. Kill! The ancient Buddhist demon roared and attacked again. A sword light descended from the sky and directly pierced the top of Gu Fei's head. As long as this dazzling and sharp sword light pierced his head, even Gu Fei would die. There were no exceptions. Shwa! At this moment, Gu Fei directly opened up his inner world. A powerful aura of the world immediately spread out from his body and enveloped the void within a radius of 100 feet. When the extremely sharp sword light pierced into Gu Fei's inner world, it suddenly fell from the sky as if it had lost its spirituality. Inner world. Seeing this, the ancient Buddhist demon could not help but be surprised. This successor of the martial ancestor was incredible. He had actually opened up his own inner world. Of course, with Gu Fei's current cultivation and realm, opening up his own inner world did not seem to be a difficult task. Come in. Gu Fei took a step forward and rushed towards the ancient Buddhist demon. The suppression of this inner world was very strong. Although Gu Fei had activated the power of his inner world, the area that the power could cover was very small, barely around 100 feet. Shua. The ancient Buddhist demon immediately retreated. He knew very well how terrifying Gu Fei's inner world was. If he was sucked in by this inner world, he would end up in a miserable state. Where do you think you're going? Naturally, Gu Fei would not let the ancient Buddhist demon go so easily. He chased after it. The ancient Buddhist demon kept retreating. At the sight of this, the eyes of the powerful figures of the demonic sects who were watching from afar nearly popped out of their sockets. That was the ancient Buddhist demon, the demonic side of the ancient Buddhist lord. He was definitely one of the strongest existences in the demon suppression grounds of the ancient Buddhist lord. But now, this ancient Buddhist demon was being chased by a human? How could this be possible? Am I seeing things? One of the powerful figures of the demonic sects muttered to himself. This great demon was still in shock, unable to believe that this was all real. The speed of these two powerful beings was extremely fast. They were like two black shadows darting across the endless land, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Many of the powerful figures of the demonic sects chased after them. One had to know that be it Gu Fei or the ancient Buddhist demon, both of them were existences that kept a low profile. But of course, sometimes, those who kept a low profile would still be the center of attention. You can't escape, Gu Fei remarked from behind. He could not help but be impressed by this ancient Buddhist demon. His speed was extremely fast. Every single step he took, a golden Buddhist light would appear beneath his feet. This sort of speed was comparable to Gu Fei's 8 desolation steps. Who said that I'm running? As the ancient Buddhist demon spoke, his footsteps weren't slow at all. Very quickly, they arrived at a strange place. It was a stretch of ruins. However, the moment Gu Fei entered the ruins, the immense pressure that was shrouding his body disappeared. Gu Fei was taken aback. He had not expected that there would be a place like this within the demon suppression grounds of the ancient Buddhist lord. The power that could suppress everything within the demon suppression grounds of the ancient Buddhist lord had disappeared in this stretch of ruins. Boom! Before Gu Fei could react to it, a gigantic palm slapped out at Gu Fei. The power of a quasi-supreme being was exploding. Roar! Gu Fei let out a furious roar. His long hair danced in the wind as he threw out a punch as well. The two fists collided and a muffled sound was heard. The two figures separated at the same time, but in the next moment, they clashed once again. In this stretch of ruins, the ancient Buddhist demon displayed its ultimate strength. Even Gu Fei's internal world could not contain it. It was extremely ferocious. Rumble, the void was shaking, but there were no cracks in space. If they were to fight in the outside world, the heaven realm and the human realm would definitely be alarmed. Terrifying destruction would occur and countless living beings would suffer. However, there was no need to worry about anything in this battle. All they had to do was to attack without any reservations. Kill. Gu Fei was enraged. This ancient Buddhist demon was too much. To think that he wanted to turn me into a demon pet. How preposterous. If I don't show off, you'll think that I'm a sick cat. 9 sword lights rushed out from Gu Fei's body and pierced through the ancient Buddhist demon. Every single sword light was sharp to the extreme. If they were in the outside world, these 9 sword lights would definitely be able to pierce through the void and destroy everything. However, it was impossible in this place because the sealing force was too strong. Unless Gu Fei's cultivation base was strong enough to go against the ancient Buddhist lord, otherwise, it would be impossible for him to break through this place that was personally refined by the ancient Buddhist lord. Kill. The ancient Buddhist demon's eyes were bloodshot. as though he had fallen into a state of madness. His blood-red eyes were filled with incomparable madness. A Buddha shadow rushed out from the body of the ancient Buddha devil. The Buddha shadow opened its mouth and swallowed the 9 sword lights in one gulp. However, in the next moment, an extremely sharp sword chi erupted, and the demonic figure that had surged out from the Buddha's body actually dissipated. However, the 9 sword lights that Gu Fei struck out shattered in the void as well. The lone demon, the ancient Buddhist demon roared and unleashed his strongest move. Terrifying demonic light rushed out from his body. The demonic light condensed and turned into an even more powerful and terrifying demon shadow. The demon shadow opened its mouth and inhaled. Gu Fei immediately felt his body tighten. His body involuntarily flew toward the demonic silhouette. He was about to be swallowed by the demonic silhouette. "Ha! For you, the lone demon, aren't you afraid that the wind will cut your tongue?" Gu Fei said with a laugh. Then, his body trembled and an extremely powerful force erupted from his body. The power of the world surged out. Not only did it disperse the devouring force that was shrouding him, it even enveloped the opponent within his own power of the world. Bzzz. The void trembled. The ancient Buddhist demon was immediately impacted and was sent flying. However, the ancient Buddhist demon was one of the strongest demons in the demon suppression grounds. It was impossible for him to be defeated by Gu Fei just like that. He rushed back from afar. Rumble. The void trembled once more. Above the terrifying Buddhist demon shadow, a mighty demonic might shook the heavens and the earth. The entire world seemed as though it was about to fall down from the sky. The ancient Buddhist demon was enraged. The sky changed color and the sun and moon dimmed. A gigantic demonic hand stretched down from the sky and grabbed at Gu Fei. The demonic hand enveloped the void and sealed the void in this part of the world. In the ruins, Gu Fei and the ancient Buddhist demon's cultivation base and combat strength had recovered. When they attacked with full force, they could shake the void in this part of the world. However, they could not destroy the void here. If they could destroy the void here, the ancient Buddhist demon would have escaped long ago and would have been trapped here for countless years. Heaven-covering palm. Without any hesitation, Gu Fei struck out with the heaven-covering palm. A supreme power burst forth as the chaotic palm slammed upwards. Everywhere it passed, it destroyed everything in its path. The ancient Buddhist demon's demonic hand that was grabbing down from the sky was actually destroyed. The ancient Buddhist demon was forced back once again. He was inexplicably shocked. This successor of the martial ancestor was too monstrous. How old was he? How could he fight against me? Swish. Chapter 3070. There was no doubt about the strength of the eternal Buddha devil. One should know that this devil bear was the demonic side of the eternal Buddha Lord. He was definitely the strongest Buddha devil among all the Buddha devils. However, when this supreme Buddha devil encountered Gu Fei, he was actually suppressed by Gu Fei, the successor of the martial ancestor, and was constantly forced to retreat. This was something that had never happened before, at least not in the current era. Throughout the ages, only the eternal Buddha Lord was able to suppress him. The combat strength displayed by Gu Fei was truly powerful, far exceeding the expectations of the eternal Buddha devil. He forced the eternal Buddha devil to use his ultimate technique to fight against Gu Fei, the successor of the martial ancestor. At this time, 2 figures were moving quickly in the ruins. In these ruins, the supreme suppressive force from the eternal Buddha Lord's demon suppression ground had disappeared. Here, Gu Fei and the eternal Buddha devil could attack to their heart's content without any scruples. The ancient Buddha fiend god executed a great art of the devil Tao, conjuring a huge net. This huge net enveloped the entire void of heaven and earth, descending towards Gu Fei below. Gu Fei sneered. Then, a strand of chilly sword chi surged out of his body. A dazzling ray of light shot into the sky and directly tore open a huge hole in the weave that was descending. Swish! Gu Fei soared into the sky and directly rushed out from the hole in the demonic net. Devil prison. The eternal Buddha devil roared in anger and immediately changed his technique. The demonic net dissipated in the sky, and a terrifying demonic energy erupted. Gu Fei only felt his body tensing up. Following that, he felt dizzy. In the next moment, he found himself in a pitch-black void. Gu Fei was shocked. The eternal Buddha devil's technique was too strange. Could this be an inner world that he created? But it didn't seem like it. Just as Gu Fei was shocked, a terrifying demonic aura erupted. Endless demonic energy rushed towards Gu Fei from all directions. Buzz. A rumbling sound came from Gu Fei's body. Then, a mass of chaotic divine light immediately emerged from his body and blocked the mighty demonic power. Rumble. The entire void was shaking. The mass of primal chaos divine light that emerged from Gu Fei's body was also shaking. Primal chaos Tao patterns appeared on the primal chaos divine light. Primal chaos Tao patterns intertwined as martial Tao energy burst forth. Amidst the primal chaos divine light, Gu Fei's eyes were as resplendent as cold stars. He was circulating his martial Tao heavenly eye to scan the surroundings. However, he couldn't find the silhouette of the ancient Buddha, as if that fellow had already disappeared. Preposterous. Gu Fei's brows raised up while his gaze was extremely fierce. Could it be that the Buddha devil of the ages has really sent me into a devilish prison? Then let me break this infernal prison. Gu Fei was still as domineering as ever. A wave of supreme power erupted from his body. Open for me, Gu Fei roared. An extremely sharp chaotic sword light rushed out from his right hand. The chaotic sword light instantly soared and broke a huge hole in the pitch-black void. The aura of the outside world immediately rushed in through the hole. Gu Fei didn't think too much. He directly rushed out from the crack in the void that was broken by his chaotic sword light. However, the moment he rushed out, a demonic seal that emitted boundless demonic light smashed towards him. On the demonic seal, countless demonic patterns emerged and intertwined, emitting a supreme power. Gu Fei was taken aback. He didn't even think before he attacked. Boom. With a loud bang, Gu Fei directly punched the demonic seal. The extremely ferocious power directly knocked the demonic seal away. However, he was also knocked back by the demonic power that erupted from the demonic seal. He directly flew into the pitch-black infernal prison. Damn it, Gu Fei roared. He was so close to rushing out from the pitch-black space. However, he was hit head-on and was directly knocked back into the pitch-black space. Don't even think about it. A loud roar was heard. Then, black swastikas came from afar and sealed the crack that appeared in the void. Rumble! The void trembled and the crack quickly disappeared. Bang! Muffled sounds of impact rang out as the void trembled. The Buddhist seals that were sealing the crack in space radiated boundless Buddhist light. Every Buddhist seal was trembling as though they would be blown away at any time. What a great successor of the martial ancestor. A skinny old monk stood in front of the crack. The old monk held a huge seal surrounded by demonic chi in his right hand. This old monk was the ancient Buddha demon. At this time, the ancient Buddha demon was looking at the crack that was sealed by the Buddhist seal with a solemn expression. However, he knew that the other party would not give up so easily. He would definitely find a way to escape from the infernal prison. He knew that he might not be able to trap the successor of the martial ancestor for long. Could it be that Guy's prophecy is really coming true? Martial arts will prevail. The ancient Buddha devil muttered to himself. When someone he had never looked down on in his life said such words, he snorted disdainfully. But now, it seemed that the martial ancestor actually had such a successor. It seemed that the martial path would flourish. Boom. The space in front of him that had been sealed was shaking. The person inside was still attacking the seal, and the powerful martial arts force directly shook the seal. A series of pitch-black spatial cracks appeared in the void. Even the void that had been sealed by the great demonic power of the ancient Buddha and demon was shaken by the power of the martial way, causing cracks to appear in the void. The ancient Buddha demon was shocked. He quickly used the demonic seal in his hand. The demonic seal rushed out from his right hand and instantly became as huge as a mountain. It directly suppressed the void in front of him. The demonic power that erupted from the demonic seal was so powerful that it managed to seal the void, which had been cracked open by the demonic seal. No matter how heaven-defying your martial arts are, you won't be able to break out. The ancient Buddha demon's face was still extremely calm. There was even a hint of benevolence. If it was not for the demonic aura enveloping his body, no one would know that he was a demon, and a different kind of demon at that. However, just when the ancient Buddha demon thought that he could seal the other party in the infernal prison for a period of time, the void that was sealed by the demonic seal suddenly exploded. Boom! Amidst an earth-shattering rumble, the ancient Buddha devil's devil seal shattered, and the void exploded. Then, a figure rushed out from the shattered void. What? The ancient Buddhist demon was utterly shocked at the sight of this. He had never thought that the other party would be able to break out of his demonic prison and escape alive. How is this possible? The ancient Buddha demon was in disbelief. Although he knew that his infernal prison wouldn't be able to trap the successor of the martial ancestor for long, he never thought that the successor of the martial ancestor would be able to escape so quickly. Not to mention that he even destroyed one of his demonic weapons. Buzz. With a loud buzz, the ancient Buddha demon saw a huge cauldron smashing towards him. A surge of primordial chaos energy burst out from the cauldron. Mountain and river cauldron. The ancient Buddha demon's expression changed when he saw the cauldron. He immediately turned around and fled. However, at this moment, an unimaginably powerful force instantly spread out from the cauldron. The ancient Buddha demon felt his body tighten as he was imprisoned in the void by that force. He couldn't even move a finger. The ancient Buddhist devil shock was truly not to be underestimated. At this moment, Gu Fei had already arrived in front of him. The ancient cauldron collided with him, causing the void to distort as if it was about to collapse. Damn it! The ancient Buddha demon panicked. He hurriedly circulated the demonic energy in his body, trying to break free from this suppressive force. However, the strength of this suppressive force was beyond his imagination. You want to refine me into a demonic pet? You're not qualified. Gu Fei charged over with a cold and cruel smile on his face. Chapter 3071. It seemed like the eternal Buddha really couldn't be killed. His real body actually appeared in another ancient temple. The only way to kill me is if the eternal Buddha Lord is dead. The eternal Buddha Lord muttered to himself. Then, his figure once again dissipated in the void, leaving only a trace of demonic essence lingering in the void. At this time, Gu Fei was standing in the ruins, or rather, in the ruins. He was carefully sensing the pulse of this world. Did a battle of extreme das take place here? Gu Fei was a little surprised. One must know that this place wasn't affected by the eternal Buddha Lord's sealing power. This meant that there was another power here that could contend against the eternal Buddha Lord's power. If he could borrow the power here to leave the eternal Buddha Lord's place of suppression, it would be much easier. Gu Fei didn't want to go to the demon world. The altar built by the ancient demon sparrow was the only way to enter the primal chaos demon world. If there was another way to leave this place, he wouldn't have to go to the primal chaos demon world. The primal chaos demon world was a legendary world of demons. Some said that it was the origin of all demons, the birthplace of all demons. It had the strongest demonic essence in the 3 realms and 6 paths. Some also said that an unimaginably powerful ancestral demon was sleeping there. Once the ancestral demon was born, the entire 3 realms and 6 paths would immediately fall into chaos. Since ancient times, many experts had predicted that demons were the culprits that brought the 3 realms and 6 paths into darkness. The world would collapse and countless living beings would suffer a calamity. Gu Fei sat cross-legged and silently sensed. Soon, he vaguely sensed 2 extreme das intertwining in the ruins. What shocked him was that these 2 extreme das weren't Buddhist powers. In other words, these 2 extreme das didn't belong to the eternal Buddha Lord, but the other 2 supremes. In the past, a great battle of extreme das took place here, but it wasn't between the eternal Buddha Lord and another extreme das supreme, but another extreme das supreme. This result surprised Gu Fei. Although he was curious about what happened here back then, the aura of the extreme das had become very weak after so many years. One had to use one's heart to sense it. Very quickly, the silhouettes of two supreme beings appeared in Gu Fei's mind. Although the two silhouettes were very blurry, they both emitted a terrifying aura that could crush the world. Those two figures didn't even need to make a move. As long as they stood there, no living creature would be able to contend against them. They wouldn't even dare to think of resisting. Two blurry silhouettes were fighting, destroying heaven and earth. Finally, the two silhouettes disappeared at the same time, and Gu Fei could no longer sense anything in his mind. This relic, Gu Fei's heart trembled. The ruins here were incredible. Could it be that the demon-suppressing land of the ancient Buddhist masters was actually a large world that had been destroyed by two supreme beings? A battle between extreme supremes was absolutely terrifying. It could destroy the heavens and the earth, cripple the world, or even completely destroy it. Of course, Gu Fei was not an ancient Buddhist lord, so no one knew how this demon suppression ground was created. Perhaps even the big baldies of the Buddhist sects did not know. It seems like there's no other way. Gu Fei sighed and stood up from the ground. Even the ancient Buddhist lord found it difficult to refine this relic, so how could he find a way to leave this world? I can only make a trip to the primal chaos demon realm, Gu Fei muttered to himself. He then left the place. The moment he stepped out of the ruins, his body sank as if an ancient divine mountain was pressing down on him. The suppression of the ancient Buddhist lord was very strong. Even a quasi-supreme like Gu Fei would find it hard to resist. He had lost the ability to fly, so he could only rely on his two legs to run back to the sparrow's territory. However, his speed was still extremely fast. Very soon, he returned to the sparrow's territory. At this time, the altar that was completely made of demon bones was enveloped by a demonic light. Every demon bone on the altar was emitting a demonic light. In the void that was enveloped by the demonic light, demonic runes were constantly appearing and disappearing. The ancient altar had already been completed. At this time, the ancient demon sparrow was standing at the top of the altar, placing the dragon pearl of the ancestral demon dragon. You're very fast. Inner world energy spread out from Gu Fei's body. He directly flew up from the ground and arrived in front of the ancient demon sparrow. With the ancient demon sparrow's ability, there was absolutely no problem. However, Gu Fei did not expect that the altar would already be completed after he went out for a stroll. The ancient demon sparrow did not speak. He was holding the dragon pearl of the ancestral demon dragon with a solemn expression. He carefully placed the dragon pearl into a depression in the middle of the altar. The moment the ancestral demon dragon's demonic dragon pearl was placed into the depression in the middle of the altar, a powerful demonic aura immediately spread from the altar. Countless demonic runes appeared on the altar. It was extremely terrifying. Gu Fei sensed an aura of extreme Tao. The strongest power of the demonic path was gathering, causing the entire world to tremble. It was terrifying to an unimaginable degree. So that's how it is. Gu Fei quickly understood. The ancient devil was trying to condense an extreme demonic power, then use this power to break through this part of the world and escape. The saber light broke through the 10,000 Buddhist seal like it was crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. It also broke the void of heaven and earth, creating a gap. The altar soared into the sky and escaped in an instant. At this time, within the heavenly Buddha path opened by the ancient Buddhist lord, a terrifying demonic aura suddenly appeared in this part of the world. In an instant, all the Buddhist experts in the area were alarmed. Swoosh! A figure rushed out from Mount Meru. This person was the little monk Fanxio who was holding the alms bowl. What's going on? Fanxio was inexplicably shocked. How could there be demonic aura in the heavenly Buddha path? He directly rushed towards the direction of the demonic aura. However, with his cultivation, he could only see an altar flash and disappear. That is, little monk Fanxio's pupils contracted. He had a bad premonition. The powerful demonic aura disappeared. All the Buddhist experts in the heavenly Buddha path heaved a sigh of relief. At this time, Gu Fei was standing on the altar. He was traversing the void and heading towards an unknown place. It was the legendary chaotic demonic realm. Thinking of this, Gu Fei couldn't help but feel excited. The chaotic demonic realm was a place where demons gathered. It was definitely a good place for cultivation. For a cultivator, battle was everything. Increasing one's cultivation through battle was a cultivation method, especially in a battle of life and death. Chapter 3072. The altar shrouded in demonic light traveled quickly through the chaotic void. Gu Fei stood on the altar. He was not affected by the powerful demonic nature that spread from the altar. The altar traveled through the screen between heaven and earth. In this state, Gu Fei could not sense the passage of time at all. It felt like a long time had passed, but it also felt like only a short while. Just as Gu Fei was getting impatient, a bright light suddenly appeared in front of him. Then, a wave of power of heaven and earth came from the place where the light was. Gu Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. Is it finally here? At the thought of this, the battle blood in his body showed signs of boiling. An extremely powerful battle intent spread from his body. However, the light seemed very close, but in fact it was very far away. The altar rushed forward for more than 2 hours before it reached the light. Then, it rushed out. Boom! At the moment when the altar rushed out, there was a loud noise and the entire altar exploded. The extremely terrifying demonic power caused the void to collapse, forming a pitch-black hole. The mountains around the black hole were swallowed by the devouring power from the black hole. The towering ancient trees on the ground also flew up and disappeared into the black hole. However, such power could not hurt Gu Fei at all. He directly rushed out of the black hole and easily got rid of the devouring power. However, not everyone had such an ability. Some powerful creatures near the black hole could not escape and were directly swallowed by the black hole. Who dares to act violently in my mountain? A loud shout came from afar. The tone was extremely dignified. Gu Fei turned and looked in the direction where the voice came from. It was a towering mountain. In the void around the mountain, there were 4 mountains floating in the void. On top of each mountain, there was demonic aura lingering. There were powerful demonic creatures sitting on the mountain. Monstrous demonic aura rushed out from each mountain, and on top of the mountain surrounded by the 4 mountains, there was a demonic figure standing. 2 blood-red eyes directly swept over Gu Fei. Who are you? Gu Fei stood in the air, looking down at the demonic figure on the opposite mountain. Oh, you are not a creature of this world. Interesting. I will capture you and slowly study you. The demonic figure suddenly discovered something and couldn't help but be moved. Its blood-red eyes became even sharper. Like 2 incomparably sharp swords, it pierced towards Gu Fei. The demonic shadow's gaze seemed to have turned into a tangible sword. Gu Fei's protective primal chaos aura was actually struck by it, causing transparent ripples to appear on it. Interesting. At this moment, another demonic figure appeared on another mountain next to the main peak. A powerful demonic aura spread out from the demonic figure. All the living beings in the vicinity of the demon mountain were extremely terrified. The 2 demonic figures on the mountain peak were just like 2 rulers. They were way too strong. The other demonic creatures did not even have any thoughts of resisting at all. Luo Peng, he's yours now, the demonic figure on the main mountain said. Haha, senior brother, many thanks. The demonic figure on the secondary mountain burst out into laughter. Senior brother, you're way too biased. Just at this moment, the voice of a woman that could cause one's bones to go limp rang out. After that, a figure with peerless elegance appeared on another secondary mountain peak. Haha, little junior sister, am I biased? If you want any human, go ask Luo Peng for it. It has nothing to do with me. The demonic figure on the main mountain disappeared into the void. Senior brother Luo, just leave this human to me, the woman said to the other demonic figure. Her voice was filled with enticement. As she looked around, she was extremely seductive, bringing with her a soul-stealing charm. Little junior sister, you'd better save some of it. Your tricks are useless against me. Demon Lord Luo Peng said. Senior brother Luo, your little sister here really likes this little fella. Can't you just leave him to your little sister here? The woman did not want to give up just yet. At this moment, Gu Fei did not know whether to laugh or to cry. These fellas were really treating him like he was invisible. Did they really think that yours truly wasn't some pushover that they could pinch as they pleased? These powerful beings of the demon's path did not give a damn about Gu Fei at all. However, Gu Fei did not give a damn about them either. He was checking out his surroundings right now. If he hadn't checked out, he wouldn't have known. But the moment he did, he realized that the atmosphere here was not simple at all. The entire region was filled with demonic chi, and there were many demon mountains floating in the skies. Every single one of those demon mountains that were floating in the skies was gigantic, with pavilions and pavilions on them. The aura of the demon's path was strong to an unimaginable extent. At this moment, the void vortex that was formed from the explosion of the altar was shrinking rapidly. Soon, the collapsed void disappeared entirely, restored by the powers of the heaven and earth. "Hey, little fellow over there. You're mine now. Hurry up and come over. Let me brand my mark on your body." The demonic figure on the second peak said impatiently. Gu Fei ignored Luopong and continued checking out his surroundings. This place was filled with demonic chi. To think that this was a rare demon's den. "Senior brother Luo, are you really not willing to let me have this little fella?" The bewitching woman asked coquettishly. "I'm really not," Luopeng replied expressionlessly. "You, humph." The woman seemed to be getting a little annoyed. She flicked her sleeves and left. "Little fella, what are you waiting for?" Demon Lord Luopeng waved at Xiaochun. "You want me to be your slave?" Gu Fei laughed. This fella was way too conceited. "Very well, yours truly shall give these fellas a surprise then." "Of course it's true." Demon Lord Luopeng looked at Gu Fei coldly. "Hee hee, it's more like you're my slave." Gu Fei stared coldly at the demonic figure in front of him as he said those words. "What?" Demon Lord Luopeng was taken aback. He thought that he had heard wrongly. This little fella dared to challenge him? This was something that he had never encountered before. "What are you talking about? Hurry up if you want to fight. I don't have time to play with you guys." Gu Fei said impatiently. "Very well. Since you're courting death, I'll grant you your wish." Demon Lord Luopeng made his move right away. A dazzling demonic light shot out from his body and headed straight for Gu Fei. A chilling aura was emitted from the demonic light. Even though it had yet to reach him, the chilling aura had already enveloped Gu Fei. Gu Fei did not dodge. The demonic light arrived in an instant. However, it suddenly exploded 3 feet in front of him. At this moment, a layer of chaotic divine light appeared in the void around Gu Fei. "What?" Seeing this, Demon Lord Luopeng could not help but be taken aback. This little fella didn't seem to be easy to deal with. To think that he could block his killer move. "Get over here." Demon Lord Luopeng stretched out his hand and displayed the Sky Demon hand. A pitch-black demonic hand appeared in the sky and grabbed at Gu Fei. A powerful demonic power burst forth, and the demonic hand covered the entire sky, trapping Gu Fei beneath it. Heaven-encompassing palm. Gu Fei used the heaven-encompassing palm. The chaotic palm shot up into the sky and destroyed the demonic hand in the sky. The chaotic palm continued on its way towards Demon Lord Luopeng. This time around, Demon Lord Luopeng could not help but be taken aback. The combat strength displayed by the other party was so strong that even he, a demon lord, could feel the threat from this fella. Swoosh! Demon Lord Luopeng shot up into the sky and dodged Gu Fei's palm. The chaotic palm landed on the secondary peak that Luopeng was on. Rumble! The extremely ferocious power directly shook the secondary peak of one of the 5 great devil peaks, and boulders kept rolling down from the secondary peak. By then, the demonic figure on the secondary peak had already disappeared. In its place was a middle-aged man in black robes. His blood-red eyes shone with a demonic glow. This middle-aged man in black robes was the true body of Demon Lord Luopeng. "Oomph!" Luopeng scoffed coldly as a demonic mist spread out from his body. It did not take long for the entire sky to be shrouded by it. Within the demonic mist, one could vaguely make out a demonic figure. Gu Fei was shrouded by the demonic mist as well. It was pitch black all around him, making it hard for him to tell where the demon was hiding. Transform. Gu Fei deployed the 9 secrets of a mortal's path. A pitch-black vortex appeared before him, and the demonic chi in the surroundings gathered towards the vortex in a frenzy. Soon, The demonic mist that was shrouding the entire sky disappeared. Flying immortal sword, Gu Fei had no intention of stopping. He deployed the 9 heaven-punishing swords right away. The unimaginably sharp sword light tore the void apart wherever it passed, leaving behind a pitch-black spatial tear. Demon Lord Luopeng was taken aback. He had never expected that the guy that he saw as a small fry, someone that posed no threat at all, would be able to display such formidable combat strength. What's going on? Just then, the woman that had left earlier reappeared. She was inexplicably shocked. Her eyes shone brightly when she saw what had happened. Little junior sister, didn't you want this guy just now? I'll give him to you now. Seeing that the situation wasn't right, Demon Lord Luopeng immediately thought of a way to escape. You should keep him. Chapter 3073. The Black Demon Mountain was a holy land of diabolism located in the western region of the chaotic demon realm. In the entire western region of the Devil Realm, the Black Demon Mountain was definitely ranked at the top. The Lord of the Black Demon Mountain was an almost invincible demon Venerable in the western region of the Devil Realm. The Great Demon Venerable was the most powerful existence in the entire chaotic demon realm. However, the number of Great Demon Venerables in the entire chaotic demon realm could be counted with one hand. Even the Lord of the Black Demon Mountain was not a Great Demon Venerable. Rumble, at this time. In the sky above the Black Demon Mountain, on the 5 peaks, a powerful figure burst out endless chaotic divine light. The entire void was shaking. No one thought that the guy who suddenly broke into the Black Demon Mountain was so powerful that even the second person of the Black Demon Mountain, Luopeng, could not suppress this guy. Luopeng was the second expert of the Black Demon Mountain. After the Lord of the Black Demon Mountain, his cultivation and combat strength were the strongest. Flying immortal sword. At this time, Gu Fei let out a low roar. An extremely bright sword light immediately rushed out from his hand. In an instant, it rushed thousands of miles and pierced through the opposite Luopeng. He directly displayed the 9 heaven punishment swords. This was the supreme killing sword created by the supreme swordsman. As soon as the sword light appeared, a murderous aura immediately filled the entire void. This murderous aura made all the creatures on the Black Demon Mountain tremble, especially those diabolism creatures on the Black Demon Mountain. The moment Gu Fei used his sword, all the diabolism creatures on the entire Black Demon Mountain were alarmed. In the face of this murderous sword light, even Luopeng, the Great Demon Venerable, felt a kind of creepy feeling. His body immediately had a layer of goosebumps. Swoosh! He directly rushed into the sky and dodged Gu Fei's sword. Kill! Luopeng roared. A square demonic seal immediately rushed out from his body, emitting endless power of diabolism. Then, it suppressed Gu Fei. Rumble! The big seal instantly became bigger and covered the entire sky. Demonic lines appeared and intertwined on the demonic seal. The terrifying diabolism aura was vast and mighty. Humph! The corners of Gu Fei's mouth curled into a sneer. Then, he charged towards the incoming demonic seal and threw a punch. Bang! Gu Fei's fist broke through the layers of demonic power coming down from the demonic seal, then smashed fiercely on the demonic seal, producing a dull sound of impact. Boom! In the next moment, the mountain-like devilish seal exploded, and countless fragments transformed into specks of devilish light that shot out in all directions. What? Seeing this scene, Luopeng's shock was no small matter. This fellow who had barged into this place from another world was actually this powerful. To be able to shatter a demonic weapon with one's bare hands, this kind of physical strength was too frightening. Based on Luopeng's experience, he had never seen anyone with such a tyrannical physical body. The demonic seal shattered, and countless fragments transformed into demonic light that shot towards Luopeng. A demonic light emerged from Luopeng's body. Countless fragments of the demonic seals flew onto the demonic light, but they only caused transparent ripples to appear. At this moment, even the peerlessly beautiful woman was affected. With a wave of her hand, she actually caught all the fragments that were flying towards her. Senior Luo, it's a pity for your great demonic seal. The woman smiled sweetly and loosened her grip, causing a dozen or so fragments to fall from her lily-white hands. Junior sister, you. Luo Peng could naturally hear the gloating tone in his junior sister's voice. He also knew that his junior sister was very happy to see him suffer. You want me to be your slave? I don't think you're qualified. Gu Fei looked at Luo Peng expressionlessly and said. Although Luo Peng was very strong, his cultivation was only between the wholly venerable stage and the quasi-venerable stage. He had not truly broken through to the quasi-venerable stage. However, Gu Fei knew that there was a quasi-venerable stage guarding the main peak, and that quasi-venerable stage was not an ordinary one. Luo Peng couldn't help but be furious when he heard this. He immediately displayed the secret technique of the mystical demon mountain. An extremely powerful demonic aura immediately erupted from his body. 9 transformations of the mystical demon. Luo Peng roared. 9 rays of demonic light rushed out from his body and turned into an immortal light of destruction that pierced towards Gu Fei. Gu Fei smiled and waved his hand. The 9 rays of demonic light immediately collapsed in the void. The difference between the two was too great. Gu Fei could directly kill this great demon with a raise of his hand, but he did not do so because he wanted to subdue these guys for his own use. In the Chaos Demon world, Gu Fei was an outsider. He knew nothing about this place, so he naturally needed some subordinates who were familiar with the Chaos Demon world to do things for him. All right, you should save some of them. Gu Fei shook his head and said. He did not take Luo Peng seriously at all. You dare to look down on me? As a high and mighty demon lord, Luo Peng naturally had his own pride. This guy actually dared to look down on him. This made him both shocked and angry. So what if I look down on you? Can't I? Gu Fei looked at Luo Peng disdainfully and said. You. At this time, Luo Peng was extremely shocked because he knew that this person was extraordinary. He might be a terrifying existence on the same level as a great demon lord. Being able to become the second strongest expert of the mystical demon mountain, Luo Peng was not stupid. If he still could not see how dangerous this person was, then he would really have lived in vain. Fellow Taoist, who are you and where are you from? At this time, the woman said. Her gaze towards Gu Fei had already changed. This person was extremely powerful and might even be on par with the lord of the mystical demon mountain. If this was really the case, then this was definitely not a good thing for the entire mystical demon mountain. Hee, you guys really don't have the qualifications to know my background. Call the person behind you to come out. He might be barely qualified to know who I am. Gu Fei was still very calm and said, Is that so? Even I don't have the qualifications? The woman walked forward. At the same time, a faint fragrance floated over and pervaded the void. Gu Fei smiled. This girl was a peerless beauty. Even his eyes lit up when he looked at her. He had to admit that this girl was truly outstanding. Especially this woman's body had a kind of charm. If one was not extremely strong-willed, they would definitely be bewitched and fall under her skirt. Chapter 3074. Above the 5 demonic peaks of the mystic demon mountain, Gu Fei stood in the air. Opposite him were 2 powerful demonic cultivators. One of them was Luo Peng the revered demon, and the other was a beautiful lady. The lady was very young. Her white robe was fluttering in the wind. She looked like an innocent little girl. It was unbelievable. Even Gu Fei was somewhat dumbfounded. Just a moment ago, she was still a charming demoness. Why did she suddenly seem like an otherworldly fairy? Are you looking for a partner? At this moment, the woman had already arrived in front of Gu Fei. With light footsteps, she circled around to his back and blew a warm breath on his neck. It was a provocation. At least, that was what Gu Fei thought. Gu Fei chuckled and said, What do you mean by that? Do you want to be my partner? Ha. The lady in white chuckled and floated away like a puff of smoke. Junior sister, do you really not want to leave a man for even a day? Luo Peng the revered demon suddenly laughed. Luo Peng, what did you say? The lady in white's expression immediately darkened. She turned around and stared at Luo Peng with a murderous look in her eyes. I didn't say anything. Ha. Luo Peng shrugged and said, You want to be my partner? Gu Fei looked at the white-robed woman and said, A demoness like her might be a fatal attraction to other cultivators. However, it was different for Gu Fei. He had fought in the heaven realm and the human realm. He had seen all kinds of people. Although this demoness was a peerless beauty and had a myriad of amorous feelings, so what? What? Fellow Taoist, are you interested in comprehending the Tao with me? The lady in white turned around and looked at Gu Fei and said tenderly. The lady's face-changing technique was really impressive. She was glaring at Luo Peng a moment ago, but in the next second, she was extremely gentle to Gu Fei. Not interested. Gu Fei shook his head and said, What? Am I not beautiful? The woman in white looked at Gu Fei with some resentment. No. Gu Fei said. Then why? The woman in white was unwilling to give up. If she could become the Tao companion of such a peerless expert, it would absolutely be a great thing for her. In the future, she would be able to do whatever she wanted in the entire Chaos Devil world. She could tell that this black-clad young man had the cultivation and battle prowess of a great demon Venerable. A great demon Venerable was the strongest existence in the entire Chaos Demon realm. Because I have a wife. Gu Fei said. When the woman in white heard this, she was startled. She didn't expect that someone would beat her to it. Why was her luck so bad? Haha, little junior sister, your wishes failed. Luo Peng suddenly laughed out loud. Luo Peng, scram as far as you can. The white-clothed woman angrily shouted at Luo Peng with her hands on her hips. Enough. At this moment, an incomparably majestic voice came from the main peak. Then, a figure appeared on top of the main peak. The white-clothed woman and Luo Peng immediately stopped talking and began to tremble with fear. The lord of the mysterious demon mountain came out, and a powerful demonic aura immediately enveloped the entire void, causing all the demonic experts to be extremely terrified. It was a supreme figure that seemed to be able to crush the world and the void. The figure walked over step by step and soon arrived in front of Gu Fei. Gu Fei carefully looked at the great demon in front of him. The cultivation of a quasi-supreme. He didn't expect to meet such an existence as soon as he entered the Chaos Demon realm. Even in the Heaven realm and Human realm, there weren't many quasi-supreme. Could it be that the demons in the Chaos Demon realm were actually stronger than the cultivators in the Heaven realm and Human realm? Fellow Taoist, where are you from? The mysterious Demon Mountain Master was also looking at Gu Fei. The mysterious Demon Mountain Master was inexplicably shocked because he knew that this fella actually came from another world. Take a guess. Gu Fei looked at the demonic quasi-supreme and said, The legendary Heaven realm and the Human realm. I can't guess it. The mysterious Demon Mountain Master said, You actually know about the Heaven realm and Human realm? Gu Fei's eyes lit up when he heard this. This demonic quasi-supreme was not simple. That's a legendary place. Could it be that there really are other worlds apart from the Chaos Demon realm? Behind the mysterious Demon Mountain Master, Luo Peng and the woman in white whispered, How could I not know about the former homeland of the Chaos Demon realm? The mysterious Demon Mountain Master said, Former homeland? What do you mean? Hearing that, Gu Fei couldn't help knitting his brows. The information in the demonic path quasi-sovereign's words was too shocking. The former homeland of the primal chaos demonic realm. Didn't that mean that the heavenly realm and the mortal realm were once the primal chaos demonic realm? I don't mean anything. I just want to know why you came to my mysterious demon mountain. The mysterious Demon Mountain Master said. Deep in his eyes, there was a glimmer of light. I'm bored. On a whim, I want to subdue a few subordinates to do things for me. Gu Fei shrugged and said, What? The three giants of the mysterious Demon Mountain heard Gu Fei's words. Luo Peng and the woman in white were directly dumbfounded. This guy actually attacked the mysterious Demon Mountain on a whim. Such a reason was too strange. Fellow Taoist, please leave. The mysterious Demon Mountain Master said politely. He didn't want to offend this guy. Well, I won't beat around the bush. Surrender to me. Gu Fei glanced at the three giants of the mysterious Demon Mountain and said, You. The mysterious Demon Mountain Master was angry when he heard this. His blood-red eyes glared and a cold, murderous aura immediately spread from his body. The surrounding temperature dropped rapidly under the impact of the cold, murderous aura from the mysterious Demon Mountain Master. In the end, we still have to fight. Gu Fei smiled bitterly and shook his fat. The other party was also a quasi-supreme. It was impossible for him, an outsider, to surrender to him just because of a few words. Yes, the strong are respected. As long as you can defeat me, I will surrender to you. However, if you lose, then you will probably die. The mysterious demon mountain master said coldly, Haha, if you can kill me, then do it. There is no need to worry. Gu Fei laughed. Mysterious Demon 9 Transformations. The first transformation frightens ghosts and gods. Mystic Demon Mountain Lord roared and immediately displayed the Mystic Demon Mountain's life-slaying technique. 9 beams of bright demonic light rushed out of his body. Chaotic Fist. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.